Our letters have been delivered, and just like millions of others out there, we have been enrolled into the magical world of Hogwarts Legacy. Let's talk about it. Good morning, evening, or afternoon. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the XP Podcast, episode 38 for the second week of February 2023. I'm your host, Mike C, and joining me, as always, the Ron to my Harry, some would say. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the XP Podcast, the co-host, the Birdman himself, Logan B.
What is up, all you wizards? We are back for another episode of the XP Podcast. I'm very excited because we got a lot of good stuff to talk about this week. We're very excited. I'm really excited. Can't wait to talk about the big one, good old Hogwarts Legacy. So, other than that, I had a pretty good week. Not really much happened. Pretty much have just done a lot of just working and chilled and played a lot of games. Well, a singular game in mind. So, other than that, what about you, Mike? How was your week?
Well, I had an interesting day Tuesday when I went to go pick up the game. Not everything exactly went according to plan. So I got up in the day. I pre-ordered it from Best Buy. Wanted to get in there, jump in. I know I could have just done it on the PlayStation and this would have resolved all my problems. But I like having an object. So anyway.
Oh, and I don't blame you.
Yeah.
It's up to you, man.
Yeah. Woke up, got ready, got excited, walked out the house, locked the door, forgot my keys in the house. And
dude.
I've done it a couple times, all right? I usually only do it when I'm like excited to go do something and I'm just kind of like, I just leave and I just don't think about it. Although I do know why this happened because I was looking for my wallet and I was like, oh yeah, it's in my gym bag that's still in my car. So I just walked out the house and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm ready to go. And I forgot to grab my keys when I did it. But what sucked even worse is, I said I've done it one or two other times. I don't know why I keep doing this, but and normally Peyton just, tells her bosses she'll be right back, leaves, lets me in. Well, she had just walked into a meeting. She had walked into a meeting like 10:15, and I think I locked myself out like at 10:16. So, I didn't get back into my house until like 12:45.
Oh, no. Wait, when did you leave?
Like
What
10,
time?
like around
Oh
10:15,
my
like 10:16 ish.
That's
Okay, no.
brutal.
Sorry. I had left at 12:45, so I didn't get back in until 12:15. So I was outside for 2 hours.
Jeez.
Dude, yeah, I was mostly mad at myself. I mean, it was a little annoying that the timing worked out, and I was trying to call Peyton and she wasn't answering. I was annoyed, but then I was like, I can't be mad at her. I locked myself out, so I was mad at myself a lot. And I'm sure my neighbors thought I was crazy because I was like cussing myself out outside. But yeah, no, I called her a bunch of times. I actually called the front desk, asking, if they could get in touch with her. Then I couldn't find that. So then I called a couple locksmiths and they were like, oh yeah, okay. So the only one I really got to give me a quote, this is what she had to say. She was like, yeah, we'll be there in 30 to 3 hours. I was like, well, that's a fucking window. Jesus.
Yeah, that's a bit of a gap there.
Yeah. And then she's like, it'll be $85. And I was like, okay, give me a second. And then I just never called her back. So I'm like, I'm not spending $85. I'll just wait. So then eventually I got bored and I got tired of calling things and just started cleaning up the yard. I actually got a lot done. Got all the leaves raked, all of them picked up. Finally got all the Christmas decorations down from outside because they've just been sitting there because I'm lazy as hell. So got all the trash picked up. I actually got a lot done in that hour and a half after I'd given up on trying to get into my house until Peyton called me back. But eventually the call came and it was very exciting. And then she came and let me in and I got to go pick it up and sit down and play it. But yeah, we're both very excited to talk to you guys. Got pretty much a Hogwarts Legacy special here with some Last of Us talk and some Nintendo Direct talk. But not too much news stories, mostly just talking about some of the things that we've experienced and watched. So should be a pretty good episode for you guys out there, so let's jump right into it. As always, we begin each episode with question of the week, and this week's question is a return of an old topic that we used to do towards the beginning of the XP podcast. We're going back to who would win in a fight. So, ladies and gentlemen, who would win in a fight? Lord Voldemort or Ash Ketchum? I don't know. I wanted to do something fun. I wanted to not be too serious because we've already done the Wizard versus the Jedi. That was one of the earlier episodes. We did Dumbledore versus a powerful Jedi. We talked about that, so I didn't want to do that. So I thought about something fun. So all right, Logan, you've got a while to think about this. Who'd win the fight? Lord Voldemort or Ash Ketchum? And by the way, yes, of course, Ash Ketchum has the abilities to throw out his Pokemon. He's not just him sitting there.
So my other question is, when they fight, is it going to be like a Pokemon battle, or is it going to be just like, is it going to be turn based? Because if we're gonna go off of actual Pokemon, are they going to play by the rules? Is it going to be Lord Voldemort versus Ash Ketchum as in like his Pokemon?
Let's just say they meet in the world, but Ash has enough time to at least throw out one Pokemon.
Okay.
So at least
any Pokemon?
Oh yeah, he has his arsenal.
Yeah, because he catch them all, I guess.
So I guess the question is, could Voldemort beat like Charizard or something?
Yeah.
So I guess honestly, that's the question.
I'd say Ash Ketchum would probably win then. Maybe.
You think Charizard? Pokemon. You think Charizard is clapping Voldemort?
I don't think Charizard will, but if we're gonna say any Pokemon, there's probably a legendary Pokemon he could throw out that could probably demolish him.
Well, okay, so I haven't watched all of the anime, so I don't know the exact lore, but I don't really think he catches any of the legendaries.
Really?
I think they help him in his adventures and all that. But yeah, he never catches like a Lugia or a Mewtwo or a Groudon or any of the actual legendaries. As far as my knowledge knows, as I said, I think I've only watched like 4 or 5 seasons of Pokemon, and there's like way more than that. So I don't know a whole lot. So I mean, yeah, I think Mewtwo is absolutely clapping Voldemort. But
yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah.
I don't think Ash ever owned Mewtwo. That was a bad choice of words. And he ever caught Mewtwo. So I would eliminate the legendaries from that. So let's just say like the normal roster of Pokemon that he's had in the shows.
Well, if we're gonna say Charizard, then absolutely 100% it's winning.
I don't know, man.
Dude, do you know how tall Charizard is? Did you like actually look up his true height? He's actually really small in reality. Like if you look up the actual lore height of Charizard,
he's 5'7".
Small.
What the hell?
Yeah, he's small boy. Yeah, he's small.
He's 5'7", 200 pounds.
Yeah, he's smaller than me.
I was say
like push him over.
Significantly smaller than me.
Yeah. That's crazy. I thought he was so much bigger, which disappoints me because like I thought he was so huge, but no, Charizard's small. He's actually really small.
He looks huge in the anime.
Yeah, well, I think it's because like obviously Ash is a kid, so they made it. I guess like they I don't know, made his height a lot bigger. I don't know.
Apparently, Mewtwo is 6'7".
Damn. I mean, that makes sense. He's tall.
Mewtwo's a big old boy.
Yeah, he is.
How big's Tyranitar? Tyranitar is 6'7" too. All right, look, I don't like this because.
Yeah, why is Charizard so small? I don't get it.
Okay, how about Dragonite? What's Dragonite here? Dragonite's only. Oh yeah, okay. Dragonite's 463 pounds. How tall is he? Oh yeah, he's 7'3". What? Why is
Charizard so small?
Oh jeez. All right, hold on. Now we're going down the rabbit hole. Let's look at Blastoids because now I'm interested.
Yeah, because I was actually listening to a podcast the other day, and they're talking about this. I'm like, there's no way that is actually true. Like, there's no way Charizard's so small. He's so small.
Blastoids isn't even 5'1", and he's a turtle, and he weighs 188 pounds. All right, hold up here. There's some weird shit going on. Dragonite is 7'3", 463 pounds. And Charizard, who looks very similar, is 5'7", 188. I don't like this.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
All right, well,
But
let's
if
just say...
if that is true,
let's just say...
Charizard's getting his ass whooped.
Let's say Dragonite, all right? The original dragon Pokemon.
Okay. I still think Voldemort would win because he has a huge arsenal of spells, and especially a very overpowered one that he can literally just go... What was it even... Wow. We're going to be talking about Hogwarts Legacy, and I don't even know all...
Avada Kedavra.
Avada Kedavra. Boom, done.
But
He's dead.
we got to ask a question. Does the killing curse work on non-humanoid things?
Does it... Well, that's a good question. Does it work on all beings, or does it only work on... I don't know.
Yeah, like, could he just cast that and Dragonite just clocks over? Because if that's the case, I mean, I guess he would have to dodge it. Because the one... What?
I'm looking it up right now. I just want to see if it says anything about, like...
Because the one problem is... Yeah.
Oh, okay. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So when cast successfully on a living person or creature, the curse cause instantaneously and painless death. And I don't know why I switched it over real quick. And it says it's for any living person or creature.
Okay.
So therefore...
But it has to hit.
Basically. True, he does have to hit.
Yeah.
But he's a big target. And he's chunky.
But he's
so
fast.
Maybe we would need some more small. Maybe like Pikachu or something like that.
I mean, yeah, Pikachu throws a thunderbolt at Voldemort.
Yeah.
He's getting clapped, right?
Yeah, or man, I don't know what's smaller than probably a Pikachu, but like probably a super small Pokemon with a very small hitbox, where you could basically, it would be hard for him to hit him. That'd be the only way. But if it's anything bigger than like if it's like the Dragonite, he done. Like he's just gonna hit that killing curse and you're done. It's over.
I don't know. I mean, Dragonite can fly and shit, man.
Yeah, but he's big.
Yeah, but he can fly.
True. I don't know. I mean, do you think he's gonna have the speed to take down Voldemort before he could just go Avacadabra? Boom, done.
I don't know. That'd be interesting because technically you got Ash catch him and he could cast like Protect or something.
True.
And like Protect blocks all magical or physical attacks. Well, no, sorry, hold on.
Is there any protection? Any known? Okay, wait. So the only known was Sacrificial Protection, which used the power of love.
Yeah,
I guess Ash Ketchum does have some love for Pokemon, right?
That's how Harry survived the attack. But there is actually a counter. I mean, we see it in the 7th book, or the 8th movie, when Harry cast... I don't even remember. Hold on. Hey, Peyton!
Ooh, wait. Well, I don't know. It's his
Peyton.
physical barrier.
What spell does Harry cast in the final movie when...
Expelliarmus.
Expelliarmus went toe-to-toe with Avada... That's stupid. I don't like that. So apparently you can just cast Expelliarmus and, the beams just hit each other.
No. The whole purpose... The only reason...
Oh god, I'm getting a lore breakdown now.
The only reason the beams hit each other is because they are sister wands. Or, like, they're pairs. They both have the Phoenix Feather from the exact same Phoenix. That's the only reason that...
Okay, so in normal combat, Expelliarmus would just get clapped by him. Okay, so yeah, there is no counter outside of the one very happenstance circumstance where Harry and Voldemort have the same wands, or the sister wands. Okay, so, I don't know. I actually think the Pokemon have a decent fighting chance because of the fact that they can avoid, and wizards can only really target, like... straight lines or individual things. Like, obviously we see in the movies it usually works, but also at the same time, like, we see them miss spells all the time in like the fight scenes and the battle scenes and all that. So I don't know, but yeah, okay, we can say for sure he's getting clapped by Mewtwo. Mewtwo's like just raising his hand once and Voldemort's dead, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I still think Lord Voldemort would definitely win this because it. I don't know.
By the way, Pikachu is 1'4", 13 pounds.
Damn.
That's funny.
Hold
on.
Maybe Pikachu could beat him.
That is true.
Voldemort.
Peyton just really. What? Peyton just told me a great thing. Voldemort does talk a lot.
That's true.
Yeah, you could be talking and Dragonite can just fucking drag a Dracor Meteor right at him, you know? Bring
Yeah, but
down
like,
the rocks.
I feel like that's movie him. But like, if we had to put him in an actual battle to attack him, right? He isn't gonna
That's true.
talking and looking at him like, I'm gonna kill you. You know, like just go on in this whole dialogue. I don't think he's gonna do that when
Holy
someone's going
shit.
to attack him.
Bro, Gyarados
But-
is 21 feet 4 inches.
Oh my god.
518 pounds. Gyarados is a big boy. This is kind of
He's
cool.
Tall.
I like diving into this. How much does Venusaur weigh? Alright, hold on.
Alright.
Venusaur, someone on all fours, is 6'7", and Charizard is 5'7".
Still don't get how Charizard is only 5'7".
Yeah.
That dude, there's no way. There has to be wrong.
Venusaur is only 220 pounds. I still weigh more than Venusaur. We've gone down the deep dive here of looking at Pokemon sizes and height
You need to
as
look at how white he is.
as compared to
Because if he's 6'7", and
I need to look up Detective Pikachu again and see if we can like compare the height of what they do for like humans.
Oh, Charizard is
and the
big
one
in
they do
that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're telling me that Charizard isn't like 6 foot or even 7 foot.
All right.
I don't.
We need to come up with an actual answer. So
I'm gonna say Voldemort still.
Yeah,
I think
you're right, 'cause
he's gonna have the
I was gonna say because like
Kadabra.
he does have defense too. Like so, let's say Charizard
Yeah.
gets a spell off. Like the Wizards still have Protecto as well. So like he has counters the same as everyone does. So yeah, I think in a matchup of a regular Pokemon versus Voldemort, I think it's lost. But a few of them could take him, like the Mewtwo or like the Mews, like the super powerful ones. So
Yeah, I definitely think Mewtwo could probably do it for sure.
oh yeah, Mewtwo is destroying him. How does Mewtwo weigh more than Venusaur? I am so confused. Do they just throw these random numbers out there?
Yeah, I'm almost wondering if they got mixed up between Charizard and Charmander, maybe. Like maybe Charmander's like 5'7",
Oh my
but
god,
like Charizard, like it's got to be bigger.
Snorlax is massive. He's 6'11", 1,014 pounds.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh,
that
yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
Big boy. All right. Well, let's just say that Voldemort wins in this one. But I do think it's not like a clean sweep. I think Ash Ketchum and his Pokemon have some sort of fighting chance.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
All right. Well, now that thrilling conversation is out of the way, good God, that was 13 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, this is the XP Podcast, our weekly video game and pop culture news podcast, where Logan and myself sit down with y'all and talk about all the news stories and happenings inside and out of the video game world. We post a new episode each and every week, so you can listen to it whenever you want. You can find us on most of the popular podcasting services, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. If you enjoy what we're doing here on the XP Podcast, please support us on a Patreon where you get to be a part of our weekly discussions and give us your opinions on everything we talk about and everything we don't. You will also be able to find all of our uploads there, along with any exclusive episodes we may post. Links for that are in the description down below, or you can simply go to patreon.com and search Experience Point, spell capital X, capital PERIENCEPOINT. However, if you don't have any money to send our way, we still love and appreciate you for listening to us and being a part of what is hopefully a growing community. You can also go over to our YouTube channel where you can get this show and all of our shows in video format. If you do, please don't forget to give us a like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification icon so you can be aware of everything we post when we decide to post it. New episode reminders for you. Episode 37 has gone live just a couple of days ago. It took me a while to get around to it, but if you want to hear what we have to say about all the games getting closed down in the video game space, there was a lot that we had to talk about. Ubisoft makes some more mistakes. We talked about that in a couple episodes ago, so go check out episode 36 and 37. They are both pretty darn good ones. Updated plan. We should be getting a full-fledged review from both Logan and myself of Hogwarts Legacy eventually when we get through this massive game. We'll sit down and we'll talk about everything and give you guys some spoilers and anything that happens that we want to do. So look forward to that. All right, with all that out of the way, let's get into this week's show. In our points of the show, we are talking all things Hogwarts Legacy, our impressions from the first week of play, what we loved about it, what we don't like about it, and everything in between. Then we'll dive into the episodes 4 and 5 of The Last of Us on HBO, and finally we'll give you our review/impressions from this week's Nintendo Direct. In Around the Point, Hogwarts Legacy is off to a magical start. Discord kinda comes to PS5, and Logan gets his wish for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Then in LTR, we dive into literally nothing because there were like 2 games that came out this week, and one of them we didn't even know before the week started. So, I got nothing for you there. But, as always, before we get to that, it's time for what is and forever will be the rundown, where we go through where we catch up on all things pop culture that we've been doing, whether it be gaming, TV shows, movies, books, or comics. It doesn't matter to us because we like it all and love to talk about it. So, this is going to be a very short section because I haven't done anything else but play Hogwarts Legacy. So, Mr. Birdman, have you done anything else outside?
No, honestly, dude, every minute and every hour free, I put it into basically Hogwarts Legacy. So,
I mean, I guess I had some more free time than you because I haven't been like playing it every second of every day like I have with some other games, like, God of War or something like that. I haven't been playing it as much as I played that, but I mean, I'm at 14 hours, you're around 15 hours, so I was looking at our trophy data last night, and it looks like we're around the same place story-wise, and we'll get into all that here in a bit. No spoilers today. We're going to keep everything as spoiler-free as we can, but we will talk about where we are in the game. So, for context for anyone listening out there, or whenever you guys listen to it, you will know where we're speaking from at each interval that we talk about the game. So, but yeah, I mean, I've watched some TV, done some stuff, but gaming-wise or pop culture-wise, I've only done Hogwarts Legacy. So, like I said, pretty short rundown. Probably the shortest of all time.
yeah.
All right, so if you want to move on, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to POTS, also known as Point of the Show. We are talking Hogwarts Legacy impressions. So like I said, for context references, I am 14 hours into the game. Story-wise, how do I want to phrase this? I just got done with the first
let's say
trial. There we go. I couldn't think of the word.
trial. Yeah, there you go.
So I just got done with the first trial, and then I'm into the season changed, and then I saved it last night. That's the last thing that I saw. So,
Dang. Wow. Okay. Interesting.
well, the season changes right after the trial.
No, I know that's well. The thing that's surprising about that is like I've been in the new season change for a little bit now. So and I'm at like 15. I'm only like
I went
an hour
through
more than you.
very slow. It took me 8 hours to get to the point you can just upgrade your character.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of really like not rushed, but I really want to get to the point where I could actually fly. So I kind of like booked it through a lot of the beginning part because I really wanted to get a broom to fly around. So I did everything I could to get there. But I wouldn't say I'm really much farther than you because I think I really slowed down completely to explore and just kind of look around and try to do stuff. But yeah, I'm at 15 hours by the way, everybody. I completed. I think the last big story thing I've done is I've done the trial, and that's all I'm gonna say because I don't want to ruin anything about this story. Because I mean, spoiler alert. In my opinion, I think this game is pretty damn great so far. What about you, Mike?
I mean, yeah, we could dive into it. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm suffering from overhypeness or what. But I've been thinking about this a lot over the past couple days, trying to get ready for the show and trying to come up with my overall impressions. I want to lead with I think this game is great. I think it is a great video game. But I was a little surprised about how much it is just an open world game. And I know that's my fault. I got my expectations up a little bit and my hype up a little bit. And I will say, for the first 5 or 6 hours, I was enamored with this video game. But once that magic of being in Hogwarts wore off for me, and once I kind of got used to, turning the camera around and seeing the castle there, which every time it happened, I said the first 5 or 6 hours, I was a little giddy, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool." Once that all kind of wore off, and I got to the point where I was kind of like fast traveling to where I needed to be, and I wasn't like walking around the castle at all times. Now, yeah, I know that's my decision, but and definitely once I got onto the broom and I got into the open world, I started to feel like, okay, I've done all this before. This is just another open world game, and with a very pretty coat of paint. It's beautiful, this video game. And so far,
Yeah.
that's kind of where I sit at. Like, I think it's a great game, but it's a lot similar to open world games in general than I originally thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to do something a little bit different than, there's 96 Merlin trials, and they're very simple, just open world fodder that you just go and you do a couple things, and you get your upgrades, and you go talk to a character, and he's like, "Oh, I've lost this. Go help me." And you go and you help, and I don't know. I was expecting something a little bit more, like, not like magical or anything like that, because that's like a nondescript word or thing that I'm trying to fight. But I guess I thought it was going to be a little bit more along the lines of Hogwarts, and you were going to do a little bit more things with the franchise, and not just, hey, go and find these carts or go and find these things. Now, granted, I'm 14 hours into what is a 30 to 60-hour game, so a lot of things can change, and maybe the later side quests and open world activities get better. But from what I've seen so far, I'm like, oh, okay, like it's an open world game, just with a very pretty coat of paint in the universe that it's set in. Now, again, I know that sounds like I'm still very high on this game. I think so far the combat is excellent. The visuals are, like I said, really good outside of like characters. I don't think characters look incredible or anything like that. But that's my initial impressions before we go any deeper into this. So
Yeah, I want to I got to say one thing that I like kind of compare this game to on its visuals is it really gives me hardcore vibes of like Assassin's Creed Unity. It has that same kind of lighting style, same kind of very muted color scheme in a sense. It's not like super overly bright. Um, I don't know. I just found that very interesting because, like, in my opinion, I think Assassin's Creed Unity is still like one of the best looking Assassin's Creed games because it's still like, in my opinion, the lighting model used in that game is just so much more superior than the other games. I don't know, getting off topic, but I just been like looking at this and I'm like, man, this really reminds me of Assassin's Creed Unity, which isn't a bad thing because I love the look of Assassin's Creed Unity, and this game looks phenomenal, especially with like not only inside the castle but also outside the castle. It's like really amazing, and the amount of like distance and depth that are. Oh my god, I'm not. Nope, Mike, I'm not saying it anymore. But it's just like it's kind of really vast and everything, and it's just really beautiful. And yeah, I mean, I gotta agree. The combat's really good so far. Been really liking it. And obviously, the more and more you keep playing, it seems like you just keep getting more and more stuff to go do, which is great. I think is fun. Yes, some of the side activities aren't exactly perfect. Some of them are kind of fetch. Well, not kind of. They are fetch quests. But some of them are a little bit more interesting. I mean, I wasn't going into this expecting Witcher 3 side content, especially when you compare their last game to what they made now. It's kind of a huge jump what they've done here. But I will say one thing is you can kind of tell that this game's been in development for quite a bit of time because they do use a lot of what I would call old design philosophy in their open world, especially in like the way they do cutscenes and all that. It's kind of dated in that sense because it's definitely like the whole fade to black, the weird cutscene transitions, the just interesting weird things that you do. I don't know, and also some of the side you do, like that's definitely very old open world style kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's been like quite a few moments where I'm in a cutscene, it pulls the cutscene out, I have to walk a couple steps and click on a button, and then it starts another cutscene. I'm like, why? Just make it all one cutscene. Like, I'm okay sitting here and watch things happen. So
yeah, it's really weird because it's like I don't know why they have to, like, you're in the middle of talking to someone, you're still in game, and it's always in game. I think I don't think it's going out of it, but it does this weird thing where like it'll fade to black and then it'll go to a close up, but then it'll fade to black and go back to gameplay. And then it'll fade to black and then go back to the cutscene. I just think it's really weird. It's an interesting thing, and like that's just where it's just kind of like, eh. I do want to go into one thing that's been really annoying me
real quick.
this week that I thought
I want to say I feel like a lot of what that is, the whole fade to black and like make you do something, honestly, is like a response to some of the complaints of Hideo Kojima games out there of too long of cutscenes. So maybe developers are like, oh, this cutscene's been going on for a couple minutes. We got to have our players do something so they don't get bored. And in my opinion, someone who really cares about story and loves story in games, I just want to watch the story play out. I don't want to have to walk to a picture frame and press a button. Like, just give me the cutscene. I don't care if it's 5 minutes. I don't give a crap. I've watched shit talking about Hideo Kojima. One of his cutscenes in Metal Gear Solid 4 is an hour long. So like, I don't mind sitting there and watching it. So, but I understand the complaint about it. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, before I get into the negative, I do want a little bit of positives out there. I've been kind of writing a list of like both good, the meh, and the bad. I'm not going to get too deep in this because I kind of want to save some of this for my actual review. But I really do also really appreciate this game. There's both a negative and a positive for it. I think the clothing customization is phenomenal. There's a lot of clothes in this game and a lot of ways to customize, and I especially love that they basically put transmog in the game at launch. It wasn't like an afterthought like a certain game called Assassin's Creed or stuff like that. It's in the game day one, and I like it a lot because then I can make my wizard look the way I want him to look. Obviously, there are some negatives, like the actual character customization isn't very vast, and also the voice slider is basically don't use it. I'm just telling you this, people, do not use the sliders. Just keep it on the normal voice. Trust me, it is. Oh,
it's supposed to be fixed.
Robot. It was so bad.
Yeah, that was a big problem with early access because I had the voice slider. I wanted my voice to be kind of deep and manly and all that. And after about an hour, I was like sitting there listening to it. I'm like, man, I sound like I'm in a fucking tin can. And then I looked up, and yeah, it's a known problem. And they said they were gonna fix it with the day one patch, since technically we were playing before the game came out. I haven't moved the voice slider back since the game has come out, since day one patch came out. So I don't know if it's fixed, but they said it was one of the problems they were gonna fix with the patch. So that should be fixed. I haven't tested it out for myself, so I don't have that knowledge. But yeah, no, I did. It was very annoying once I realized it. It took me a couple hours to actually hear it, but once I heard it, I was like, I couldn't stop hearing it.
Yeah, I seen a little bit of a review. Obviously, didn't watch the gameplay. I was actually very good at not watching too much before this game came out because I really did kind of want to be dropped in without barely, like, not a lot of knowledge. Like, I know that you can obviously outside the castle, but I tried to keep myself from like looking at too much. But yeah, no, yeah, that was kind of a weird problem I had. I luckily I watched a review about that, and where they said don't move the slider. And after I even just tested the slider after like 2 seconds, I'm like, yeah, this sounds god awful. Like, it literally just sounds like a robot. It's just really bad. But the normal voice is great in my opinion. That's what I kept it at. I just put on the boy thing. I wanted to make it a deeper voice, just like you said, but it sounded so bad I couldn't do it. But other than that, another positive one out there is the amount of graphical options in this game is beautiful. Like, I love it, man. There's 5 different choices if you obviously have a supported TV, which is what I've been messing around with. Like, they have a balance mode, which basically, from what I'm getting and from what I'm testing, because I don't think we're ever going to get a Digital Foundry video on this, they have a balance mode, which is basically like fidelity, but it's at 40 FPS, which sounds weird to a lot of people, which it is a weird FPS, but since it's doing it from 120 FPS and it divides by 3 evenly, it actually feels very smooth and it's really cool. Obviously, I haven't been playing on that mode because, in my opinion, performance mode looks damn good and it runs very smooth. And what I did, because I have a VRR supported TV, I uncapped the frame rate so it runs even above 60 frames per second and it feels very smooth and it looks insanely good. So I've been playing in that mode. They have 120 FPS mode as well in this game, but it really cranks down those graphics a lot. You could definitely tell. Like, I literally was doing some testing and trying out all the different modes and everything, and I was like just sitting in the looking at the sand thing for all the different the different houses and everything. So I was just looking at it, and yeah, the 120 or high frame rate mode looks really bad. But if you want to, like, pretty much what is close to probably 120 FPS, you could choose that mode. But I do performance with the uncapped frame rate, and it looks so good, and it runs very smooth, like buttery smooth. It's so good. But yeah, I mean, I guess if you want, I might jump into just a little bit of a negative. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but it's mainly glitches and really bad ones at that. Not okay ones, just really bad ones I've run into since I've been playing. Even with the day one patch installed, they didn't fix it. So I don't know if you've had this problem. I haven't been really looking it up or not, but have you had the problem where at the beginning of the game, when you go to the map, like you just go straight to the map, your left analog stick just stops wanting to work in the menus? Like, that's what's been happening to me. Every time I go straight to the map, like not press pause, then go to the map. If you go straight to the map on the whatever you're going to touchpad on the PS5 controller, it just stops working. It just doesn't let me use my left analog stick to navigate the menu. And it's definitely not my controller, because guess what? When I get out of that menu, it's working perfectly fine. But it's just when I go to the map, it just stops working. And the only way to fix it is to turn off your controller and turn it back on, and then it fixes itself. I don't know why it's doing this, and it's really annoying because there is a way to get around that by just pressing pause and then going to the map, which adds more time, which is frustrating. But there's a few moments in the game where it makes you go to the map, and I can't move my left analog stick anymore. So I have to literally turn off my controller, turn it back on, and then it works again. And I don't understand why it's happening. It's very annoying. It's clearly not my controller, because a left analog stick works perfectly fine for literally everything else. It's literally just this glitch where if you go straight to the map, your left analog stick just stops working. And it's so annoying. It's literally happened to me. Like, when I first started playing, it happened so many times. And I thought, okay, maybe the game's breaking. So I would exit out of the game, go back in. I tried to do all different things. And then I finally figured out the reason why. And it's for some reason, when you just go straight to the map, it stops working. Your left analog stick will not work anymore. And the D-pad, using the D-pad, by the way, the menu is literally garbage. It is god awful. I hate the stupid digital pad on the controller. It is just bad. It's just bad. It's not enjoyable to try to use that stupid touchpad to navigate menus. So I use the left analog stick, but when you click on the map and it doesn't let you use your left analog, that's frustrating. Well, and it didn't get fixed because I tried it the day one patch. It's still broken. It's still annoying. And I know that might be a minor inconvenience, but it kind of adds up when it happens so much. Yeah, it's very annoying.
I was going to jump in and say, I haven't ran into that glitch at all, but overall, I do not like the menus in this game. I think they're very unintuitive, and it takes a while to just jump in and get your gears. I don't like the whole Destiny, you have a mouse, that you have to control.
Destiny it's like an Assassin's Creed thing. It's so gross.
It's like I don't like that. I'm like, just let me click through some things, But overall, I think, on a more like deep dive of the game and its systems, I think the menus are very annoying. They're slow. The map has to every time you go into the map, it like has to load itself in for a second or two. So if like you want to just change your gear and you accidentally press the touchpad, you either got to scroll through the top options to get to the gear, or you got to back out and then hit start and then scroll over to the gear. And I don't know. I just don't like the menus. I
Yeah,
get
I don't blame you on
I get
that.
so annoyed trying to just navigate things, and it just out of my 14 hours, it has probably been at least an hour of me just in the menus getting this stuff, and it shouldn't be that long. I will agree with you. I think the customization system so far is great. It took me an embarrassing long time to realize how to transmog. I
Oh
was
yeah.
like, for the first like couple mission sets, I was just wearing the basic stuff because I'm like, all this other stuff looks stupid and I don't want to have to wear it, even though I do get stat buffs. Eventually, after an hour or two or whatever it was, once you got into the game outside of the introductory sections, I realized how to transmog, and I was like, oh, I'm dumb. Just got to press one button. So that took me an embarrassingly long time for someone who has played as many games as I have. But yeah, it's great. I'm still sticking mostly with like the general look. I haven't found enough pieces to like put together a really cool character. I've seen some videos out there of some really badass looking characters, but I'm still kind of stuck in like, oh, I'm a student. I want to wear, the house cloak, and I want to be all this. And I wish there was a way that you could like quick select outfits. So like if I'm exploring, I can go into like a different outfit, and then when I go back to school, I can go back into my school outfits without having to go into these unruly menus and changing it every time that I want to go out into the world. But that's a little role playing thing that I do. I like to have different outfits for exploration than I do like something that I'm in like the actual main quest or stories. I do that with Spider-Man all the time. I change into a different outfit. So I did that with Spider-Man, and then whenever I went to a main quest, I'd put on you know, the outfit or the costume that the game tells you to, because I want it to be like a uniform experience when I'm looking at the cutscenes and all that. But so I will say I wish there was a like an outfit saver in a way that you could just immediately transmog all your stuff and set an outfit. So I hope they get to that in one of the future updates. I did post on their Twitter page. For me, that's a requested feature. I don't know if they saw that. Don't really care, but that's something that I did. I was like, this is a feature that I would like to make it a little bit more like personal, because like in my mind, I'm like, okay, if I'm in Hogwarts, I'm like, I'm gonna go out into the world. Like, you're probably not just gonna wear your cloak. You're probably gonna put on something else if you're in that world. So I kind of want a way to do that in game. But what else did you say? I don't remember.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, I kind of been in the same boat with you on the customization. I've been kind of what I have going is I've been wearing jacket, and then I have this which, by the way, actually I want to throw out some tips real quick for some people that there's some tips in this game that literally it doesn't tell you, or it straight up doesn't tell you till very late in the game, where I've gotten to now. First thing first, if you want time change, don't just sit there and wait for it to change from day to night. On the map, go to the map, click the right thumbstick in, and you could wait. Just like in most open world games. It doesn't explain that to you until like literally where I just got to. I just got to a point where they finally explain that. So you could do this at the beginning of the game. It's not something you unlock. But yeah, if you ever want to change from day to night or night to day, go to the map, click the right thumbstick in, and it'll let you wait.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, no, trust me, it won't tell you until literally where I just got to. And I'm like, are you serious? Yeah, it's like, but I already knew about this because I watched a video. But if I didn't watch a video, I would have never known this until literally where I just got to in the game.
Yeah, because there's been times I'm like exploring the world and it's nighttime, and I don't really think it's as fun to explore at night as it is in day. So that's useful information. I wish I would have known that, game.
Yeah. And another thing, you make sure to check your challenges every so often because you get a lot of unlocks. It doesn't, again, do a very good job of explaining that, other than you see a little notification icon on it. Go to your challenges. You are constantly unlocking outfits, gear, and etc. So go there every so often, check in your menu, go to the challenges because you're constantly getting stuff. Make sure to accept all the rewards because there's good stuff in there. I had another one. Oh, yes. Another thing for controller players, go to your sensitivity, turn the acceleration all the way to 0 and bring your sensitivity all the way up, and the game feels way smoother, like 1,000 times smoother than it did because for some reason, the acceleration makes the turning your camera feel really awkward and weird. And I felt like it was a little slow most of the time I was playing, but then I figured out, yeah, if you go into the menu, switch the acceleration all the way down, and bring your sensitivity up, it just feels way, way, way more smooth. So yeah, I wanted to throw out a couple tips out there I've been learning from. Honestly, these are very helpful, especially the day and night thing. I wish I knew this like earlier in the game, especially in the later part of the game. There's a certain thing you have to collect that you have to be at night, and it still doesn't explain to you to do this, so you won't know that. And you know, like if for example, if you don't know this, it doesn't explain it till later in the game. It could be very annoying because you'll run into this collectible and you have to be at night. And if you're not at night and you don't know how to do that, you're just going to sit there waiting until it becomes night, and it's so dumb. So yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's not really a problem with like main missions where you have to be, you have to go to class in the day. You can just go to that area and hit wait, and the game will just fade to black and then come back up and everybody's there. So that's why I hadn't run into a situation where I needed to be one time, because I would just go to like the classroom, go in a little circle, hit wait, and then I was good to go. But now that I know that, I can kind of role play it a little bit more. So I like that. One thing that I don't know. All right, I don't know how I feel about the exploration either. And specifically the broom. Is the broom slow to you?
No, they need to fix the broom controls,
Okay.
which, by the way, there are a lot of people posting way better control schemes for this that I hope they do end up adding, because yeah, the broom control scheme is really bad because you can't for some reason they decided to let you look around with the left thumbstick or whatever,
Right.
but then in order to go up and down, you have to press up or down on the right D-pad, but you can only look left or right. So you can't look down or up. So you basically, it's really just very inconvenient, and like they could definitely fix that by probably very simple means. I don't know why they decided to go with that control scheme. It's very awkward and weird to control, especially when you're trying to make quick turns and all that. It just doesn't feel right. I definitely feel you on that one, because yeah, it's very annoying at times.
Well,
I
don't know. I feel a little detached from the world. Like in other open world games, you get some kind of ground mount, and I don't think you get that in this game because you have the broom and then the hippogriff, which I haven't even unlocked yet. I'm getting ready to. I have you can go into the beast class, which I'm guessing is when you unlock the mount. Oh, just kidding. Maybe not. So still haven't unlocked the beast mount
yet. You got
yet.
a little bit, my friend.
Okay, whatever. That's fine.
No, but I think possibly.
This
isn't spoiler. Just looking at the menu, there might be a ground mount. Not sure.
Well, maybe, but I don't know. I just feel so detached. Like I just feel like, oh, I set a waypoint and I'm going there, and yeah, I figured out last night you can cast Revelio while in the air, and that pulls up all the different icons of where you can go. But it's still
I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you press Revelio in the air, it pulls up all the different icons in your vicinity of the different caves and everything else that you can go to. So that helps out a little bit with exploration. But it still doesn't reveal them on the map. So like you can't pinpoint it. So if you're trying to get something and it's farther away than you anticipate, you just have to keep casting Revelio to keep bringing it up so you can keep going towards it. It's not great, but I just I don't know. I just feel like flying over the world just makes me feel a little detached from the world. I don't get to explore it on the ground. Like, The Witcher, I would put a waypoint to where I was going, and then just every time I would go there, I would just like make my path there by hitting up all these different areas. I'm like, oh, there's this house over here. Let me go there. And I'd still have my waypoint of the mission I'm trying to get to, but I got to explore around the path that I was going. And that's just not really here with this game because you're just flying over everything. And, I don't know.
know.
That's just how I feel. It just makes me feel kind
Yeah.
of detached from the world a little bit. It just makes me feel like, oh, I'm gonna get on my broom, go exactly where I need to go, and then I'm there, and then I can just fast travel back to wherever it is I need to go. So I don't know. I just feel a little detached from it. I feel like so far other games have made me more attached or involved in the world that they set me in. And I just so far feel like I'm not really deep into this game. Because, like I said, I'm 14 hours in, and I haven't really had a session that I've played for longer than, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours. I've kind of taken breaks in between like that. And that tells me, as in my experience of gaming for, 25, 26 years, is that I'm not fully enveloped in the game if I really can't sit there and play it for 4 or 5, 6 hours on my off days. And I only play it for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, then maybe I, go and do some work on the podcast on my computer, then come back to it, and I'm kind of bouncing around. And I don't really think about it that much when I'm not playing it. Like, I don't really have that hankering that, like, oh, I can't wait to get home and play more of this. Because, I don't know, overall, the story's interesting, I guess. Like, there's a good mystery going on, but I'm not really attached to my main character. I'm not really attached to any other people, because you don't really walk around and talk to too many of the students. Like, you can, like, some of them you can, like, press the button and they'll say a line of dialogue, but there's not too many that you can, like, really just always go up to and have a conversation with and talk to in some of the other, like, RPGs and everything like that. So I don't know, man. I just, like, I like it. I do. I just don't love it. And I just don't love it as much as I thought I was going to. And like I said, I'm trying to remove my own anticipation for the game and really present a objective point of view on this game. And like I said, objectively, I still think it is a great video game. I'm not going to say what I'm sitting at score, because I said I'm too early to actually put a score on it, in my opinion. But I just think overall, I'm just like, okay, this isn't as amazing as I thought it was going to be. And like I said, one of the things that we always talked about going into this is it all looked great, but they hadn't showed us what, like, the moment-to-moment experience of this game was. And now that I'm into it, I realize and I know the moment-to-moment is just another open-world game. And in that, I'm fairly let down by that. I know I'm sounding very negative. I'm pulling a Logan here. I'm sounding very negative on a game that I keep telling everyone out there that is a great video game. That's just because it doesn't do anything bad ever. Like, nothing in this game that you do is bad. It's just it's been there, done that type of things. I don't know.
Again, that goes back to the whole, and I don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure this game has been in development 2015, if I'm thinking correctly, because there was a lot of, like, releases and, like, hidden things, and, like, a lot of a lot of just, like, people releasing, like, little bits of footage and everything, game and development. And I don't know if that's true about 2015, but I'm just throwing out there. I think they've been working on this game for a little too long, and now that finally they released it, it's a bit dated, because we've had so many open world games come out and get better and better and better with more just, I don't know, like, they made the open worlds a little bit more, like, because you could definitely tell that, like, the people in the world don't have, like, a lot of, like, schedules in a sense. For example, I kind of wanted to test it. I was, like, going around just, like, I don't know, maybe following around a teacher or something like that, just because I wanted to see what the NPC's schedule like. And so, for example, I went to the biology class and I just sat there and I just kind of wanted to see what she would do. And she just kind of, like, stood there and looked at the plant. And then when the time of day changed, she stopped looking at the plant, turned around, and started watering a plant. And then from there, I think, like, some students came in. So there's, like, a little bit of a schedule, but it seems to be mainly for, like, teachers. But for students, they just kind of walk around in circles. That's what they do. So you could definitely tell, like, they have a very older way of designing an open world game set in this, for sure. I don't have the problem with the broom thing, because if you really want to get that close, go all the way to the ground and ride it like you're riding a horse. And that's what I usually do, because I don't like to always be up super high. I want to be close to the ground sometimes, just so I can see side missions that pop up or random events that happen throughout the game, which there are great random events you run into the game, especially in the castle. Don't want to ruin any of it, but it's fantastic. Some of the random events you run into, there's a lot of great Easter eggs and just funny moments that happen throughout. Like, Amy was watching me the other day because
I was gonna say there's a certain character that movie fans, book fans, were disappointed wasn't in the movie, that he is all over this game.
Yeah, and it's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
By the way,
But,
the game officially went into development in 2018, announced in 2020, and obviously released in 2023. So about 4.5 years of development time.
Okay, so yeah, so it's you could definitely tell it's been in development for a while, and they had a very dated approach still. I don't know what the other Harry Potter game I had, but it looked very similar to this game, so that's why maybe I got mixed up, because I've been seeing
You want to hear something funny though?
What?
I just thought of this. I don't want to. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Well, I guess I did mean to interrupt you, but just an idea popped in my head. This game began development a year after Skull and Bones was announced.
That's tough. Which, by the way, I know this is off topic, but have you seen like the play tester review so far of the game?
No, I don't.
They said they didn't have of fun the entire time they played it.
I didn't care, so
yeah, no, I just think it's funny. But okay, so back to Hogwarts.
Yeah, sorry.
Real quick. I want to throw in a couple other little bugs I got into. One of them I think got fixed. But at the beginning of the game, when you got to cutscenes, for some reason, I don't know if you had the same but sometimes like the HDR would like turn on and off in a sense. It was really weird. It was almost like one moment it was nice and colorful. The blacks were black, the colors were really bright and everything. But then it would like flicker. It would like flick off, and then everything would look very just colorless and bland in a sense. Like, I don't know how the best way to explain it. It's almost like they put like a white filter over it. It was just really like gross looking, and it would happen every so often. Now, after playing it for like the last, like, I don't know, probably like 8 hours after that, I noticed it's kind of not been there anymore. So I think it got fixed with a day one patch. I think. I can't tell you if that's true or not. But it definitely was really bad at the beginning. Like, I noticed it quite a bit. It would just flicker on and off the HDR. So I guess this isn't a problem anymore. I think. I'm gonna say I think. But it definitely was a really weird glitch I ran into. And I think also another really bad glitch happened times. The AI will just straight up break. Like, they would get stuck on geometry around the world. Like, for example, I was sneaking around in a camp, and I went to shoot a spell to get the person to go away, and they just got clipped into a box. Like, they just started walking into a box, and they couldn't get out of it. Or there was this one sneaky mission thing that, like, I was like a student, walked into a wall, and they just kept walking into the wall, wouldn't go down the stairs, and it was really frustrating. And I've had that happen where, like, it seems to mainly be with obviously the stealth part of it, but yeah, like, the AI will just sometimes just walk into a wall and then just don't leave it. So I don't know. It's been a weird glitch I've run into. I don't know if it's a glitch or what, but still, it just is. It's really weird and sometimes frustrating. I wouldn't say it's been super frustrating, but I've had it happen multiple times, especially when it's a tight corridor I'm trying to get through, and then they just walk into a wall and I can't get them out of the. So how am I supposed to sneak past them? But yeah, no, that's been a really glitch I run into. But other than all the negatives we've been going to, I feel like this game's great. It's really, really good still so far. I have been craving playing this game a lot. And I think for both me and Mike, which is even more plus, is me and him are not a huge Harry Potter fans. Clearly. Sometimes we don't even know certain things. So, like, this is just kind of like.
No, I'm going to step in there. I'm a big I know a lot about the lore. I've done a lot of research and looking at. So I want to step in and say I'm actually a fairly big Harry Potter fan, and some of the references and all that I do understand because while I haven't read the books, I've watched a lot of lore videos, mostly just so I can talk about things knowledgeably. And like I know about the Black family tree, and I actually know the headmaster and kind of his story around the lore. I understand who that character is. So just want to put my own foot in. I actually know quite a bit.
Okay, well, we're not like super fans though. You gotta admit that.
That's true. I like Harry
yeah.
Potter. I don't think it's as incredible as some other people do out there, but I do,
Like,
in fact, like it quite a bit.
Like, yeah, like for me, like Star Wars is my super. Like I know an insane amount about that, but when it comes to Harry Potter, yeah, I mean, I know a good amount. I've learned quite a bit throughout the years, not only through watching the movies, but also talking to Amy and getting a lot of the answers from her because she basically knows just about 90% of the stuff I would feel like about Harry Potter and everything. So I mean, I'm still a fan. I'm just not a super fan. You know, I don't know everything, but I will say one good thing about this game is it's kind of teaching me spells and stuff, which has been really cool, and getting used to them and everything. And I also just want to give them a big plus on how many spells are on the game. There's a lot, and they're all really fun to play around with. And some of the puzzles you do throughout the game, you kind of have to be sort of creative with it. You got to really think about what spell does what and when to use them to get certain puzzles done, which I really like. It doesn't always hold your hand. There are definitely quests where straight up just tell you where everything is, and that's pretty handholdy at that point. But I don't think it's like too bad and everything. And the game actually can get pretty difficult. I mean, I haven't died yet, but I've gotten dang close a couple times because I get like overwhelmed by like 7 wizards, and I'm like trying to jump back and forth, throw the right spell at each character, but also dodge or use my effect. I can't even say the word, but I'm using my defense spell to basically block or throw something back at them. Protecto, yeah. So it's definitely hard sometimes combat, like especially the more the game when you start finding higher level wizards that actually know how to throw out some good spells and really throw you off. You can get pretty messed up in this game, even on normal difficulty, which I've been playing on. Because at first I thought it was too easy, and then the more and more I start playing, I know I haven't died, so I guess you could say it has been easy. But like, there's been a couple times like I'm really close. It may be my own fault because I get a little too aggressive, but it can get a little difficult at times, especially some of the bosses you find in the game. So, but other than that, I mean, I don't think there's really a lot more I could say other than just I think this game is still really great, still really, really fun. It's very beautiful. It's actually one of those games that I sometimes just look around and explore, which I can't say that about a lot of open games. There's a good amount of them that I love to sit around and explore in, but like this one, I think maybe it's because it's obviously it's Harry Potter world and we've seen the movies or read the books and etc. But it's just really great to see a very amazing, truly realized version of like it's in its world around it. I do kind of hope in the future they come out with the DLC for the London area, especially Diagon Alley. I'm a little sad about that. Spoiler alert, you don't really get to go there in this game.
There's only one DLC I want for this game.
What's that?
Quidditch.
Yeah, okay, well, yeah, that... Okay, now I could probably say that would be... Because it makes me sad that that's not in this game. And I know it's probably really difficult, especially with their broom controls. I don't think that's gonna fly. Haha, yeah. Pun intended. It ain't gonna fly with Quidditch because they need to update that if they're gonna make Quidditch into this game. But I do love the reason as to why. At least they gave a reason. And also, I told Amy this, but the whole room of requirements, they actually gave a good reason. And I actually think they did a really good job introducing why it is the way it is. Because, I know we had that little bit of a fight with Amy and Peyton about they didn't like how it was done, but I feel like the game does a really good job of actually introducing it, and it actually makes sense. Like, it's not, just shoved in there. So I think that's really great, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they're both gonna have a problem with it, but we'll see when it gets there.
That's fair. But yeah, I mean, other than that, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what my impressions are so far.
Yeah, I mean,
I have more to say, but I kind of just get a little bit out there to say that I think it's a great game. It has flaws. Yes, some of the open world elements are very dated. Obviously, if you're not a big Harry Potter fan, you may have a lower score opinion of this game. Obviously, you kind of have to have a little bit of knowledge when playing this game, at least to understand some of the lore and all that. But I wouldn't say you have to be a super.
oh. Go ahead.
All right. So we had a little bit of a technical difficulty there. But so as I was saying, yeah, the world's a little bit dated in a sense with the way that they designed it, But overall, again, I think it's a very beautiful looking open world game. Especially if you're a Harry Potter fan, I think it means even more because I think they did an amazing job just not only designing the Hogwarts castle, but the areas around it. But know too that this open world isn't a very varied open world. Like there's not a lot of different biomes. It's a lot of either castle or greenery. And you got to remember that. But I guess that is obviously just, that's how the Harry Potter films were either. They didn't go to super snowy areas. They didn't go to super this. But, obviously throughout the game too, the seasons change. And I mean, I guess spoiler alert, you're going to know that at some point snow will be there. So I guess it is varied in that sense. The more you play it, the different seasons change the way the open world looks. So, but other than that, I mean, I think it's so far, I'm having a great time. I feel like even still at the 15-hour mark, I'm still unlocking more and more things. I'm learning new things. It's adding more stuff to the game. Supposedly, some point in the middle of the game, something really big is supposed to happen that has never been talked about. No one even rumored or anything. So I'm pretty excited to see what this surprise thing is that's going to really change up the game, supposedly. But I gotta say, even from 15 hours, I haven't been bored. I've been very interested. Usually in games, I don't like to collect things, but I've been really enjoying collecting things and doing the puzzles in this game. They're all really, really fun. Obviously, some of the quests are, fetch quests. Again, as I said, very dated on their approach on some of the things, but some of the quests are pretty enjoyable, and it's cool to see more lore and also just learn about a different generation of what, the Harry Potter universe is. So, yeah, so far it's great. I can't wait to beat this game, and then I also can't wait for us to review it. So, what about you, Mike? What's your summary?
my overall thoughts?
Yeah.
So my summary is I'm a little bit more negative so far than Logan is. Said I don't like to say it, but it is what I'm feeling. You said you haven't been bored. There's plenty of times that I've been playing this game that I feel a little bored. I don't truly feel attached to the open world. I don't actually think it's that great of an open world right now. It's pretty, so far, singular in terms of like your interaction with it. Like I said, there's very few people you can talk to, in my opinion. You can talk to quest givers, but you can't just walk up to, everybody in the game and talk to them and everything. And very few games can do that, but there's games that allow you to interact with the open world in so far a lot more meaningful capacity than what Hogwarts Legacy has allowed me to do. So I keep saying I do think this is a great game, if not a good game. But overall, I have been a little disappointed with what I've played so far, 14 hours in. And that could be due, like I said, to my own anticipation of the game and what I was hoping it would be, seeing as we never really got a detailed playthrough of what you're doing moment to moment. And we never really got, exactly what the open world was going to be like. And now that I've experienced the open world, I was a little let down by what it is. But like I said, I still think it's a really good game. It's a really great game even. Harry Potter fans are obviously going to love this game. People are loving it around the world. We'll talk about it here in probably about an hour or so. This game is killing it. Huge viewership, huge engagement from everybody out there. It has taken the world by storm. Thank God, in my opinion. I'm glad that people are really, really enjoying it. Just overall, so far, I was just let down by what it is, what the game actually is so far. But again, that's not a negative per se in the grand scheme of things. It's just my feelings so far on the game. All right. Well, we'll come back to this as we play it, and then we'll build up, hopefully, in a couple weeks to putting our review out there, depending on how long it takes Logan and I to get through it. I'm going to get through this game. Probably not going to platinum it because there's a trophy for getting to, how do I want to say it? Like the introductory, the skill unlock section for each class. So, yeah, and it took me 8 hours to get there. Now, I guess you can do that way quicker than when I did it. You can kind of mainline it in a couple hours. So we'll see. I might push through the platinum. I may not. I don't know. But we'll come back to you guys, report each and every week what we're playing, any new things that we thought about or anything like that. So we're going to go on now, though, to our second point of the show, which is The Last of Us Episode 4 and 5 reactions. It's actually a good thing that we didn't get to talk about it last week because I hadn't seen Episode 4 yet. Because it's essentially a 2-part episode combined together. So, Logan, you've seen 5, right?
I have indeed.
Okay, that's good. I was.
Oh, trust me, dude. As soon as I got the chance, I'm like, I had to watch it because obviously you know what happened Friday night, but
Yeah.
Saturday, I'm really happy I got to watch it. So yeah, I watched it. I think probably like 2 p.m. yesterday. So
Yeah, I watched as soon as Peyton got back. So, all right, so there we go. Episode 4 and 5, kind of a 2-part, little mini series within the series. Takes us to Kansas City, which is a change, a very not meaningful change from the game, but it's a change nonetheless. It doesn't matter what city it's set in. Like in the game, it's set in Pittsburgh.
I'm so upset.
Yeah, and this one is set in Kansas City. That doesn't matter. But
yeah,
a much more expanded way to tell this section of the game, the TV show began to do. And I'd say overall, look, Peyton and I were talking about it last night, and I feel like this is something we talked about with our episode 3 reactions. They're expanding this story in ways that I don't like. And Logan
really?
talked.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually fairly down on 4 and 5.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah. I think they keep expanding and adding in these characters, but they're not expanding the Ellie and Joel story, which is the story.
That's a good argument, actually.
And it's like you added in this whole other set of characters in the show, which I get it. You need to explain a little bit of why Joel and Ellie are interacting and fighting with these people, and they gave them a good backstory. So I'm coming at this as someone who's played the game multiple times, not a new viewer. So I know what's coming. So all the different storytelling and nooks that they do didn't matter to me because I knew how this all ended. And again, that's not fair to come from because I'm not a new viewer of the show. But I was able to sit back and see it more. I was like, okay, are all these changes that they're making for the advancement of Joel and Ellie's story, or to deepen characters that I already know what happens to them? And again, that is a very unfair way to take that because I have a deep knowledge of this and I know the story, I know what happens. And I don't know, I'm starting to feel a lot more of what you felt in episode 3. The fact that I'm getting a little annoyed that we are spending so much time of this first season. The last 3 episodes, we focused significantly more on everything else outside the world. And like Peyton put it perfectly, it feels like so far Joel and Ellie are like sightseers. And they're just kind of walking through and we're seeing all this other stuff happening, but we're not really spending a whole lot of time with them. I do think episode 4 is really good because you do get a little bit more time with Joel and Ellie. They introduce the pun book. which is a huge, not a huge component, but for me as a deep fan, it is a pretty important component of the game. It deepens the character bonds and all that, and we get to see them grow and adapt together. But I don't know, just, we're 5 episodes in, we got 4 episodes left. There's a lot of story to get through, and I felt like they've kind of expanded in ways that don't really matter truly for what this story is and the whole of what the story is. I don't know. I'm feeling kind of down on these ones. I'm not gonna lie.
I gotta agree with you on the fact that, like, I will say overall, I still liked episode 4 and 5, but I gotta agree. As much as I like that they want to expand these characters, I do feel like they are focusing way too heavily on these side characters. Like, the thing is about the game, and as I said with episode 3, is it's focusing on Joe and Ellie the entire time, but you run into these characters, they have a story going on while Joe and Ellie's is going on. They could explain, a little bit about, like, why they're here, who are they, and everything. But it's while Joe and Ellie are also still bonding. You're still seeing that bonding experience. And I just feel like, like they just keep focusing a little too heavily on the side characters. And also, is it just me? Or are they nerfing Joel on how he was in the game? Because he's so much nicer in this. Like, he's acting like, I know he did that one thing in episode 4, but he's so much nicer in this. It's a little weird. Like, he wasn't like that in the game. He's a lot more grungy, and he doesn't appreciate things as much. But the more and more he gets throughout the game, he changes. I feel like he's already, like, completely changed within a couple episodes. He's like, yeah, you I feel bad for you. You shouldn't be having to deal with that. Yeah. Like, who is this? This ain't Joel. Like, I don't know why they keep doing that. It is really weird why they keep changing him too. I feel like they are changing Joel. I feel like they're making him a little too nice, a little too caring. Like, the way he was in the game was he was very despising. He didn't trust people. I feel like he's a little too much more like he's kind of becoming Last of Us 2 Joel, where he's like telling everyone about everything, and he's very open, and he's just a lot more different than the actual Joel we got in the first game. And that's kind of what we're getting in this, I feel like. I don't know if you noticed that, but for me, I've been kind of noticing it quite a bit. It feels like they're kind of changing Joel.
I don't feel
a little too much in some ways.
I mean, he's very dismissive of Henry the entire time. I mean, yeah, he listens to him and all that, but I mean, he gets mad at Ellie when she tells him where they're going. He does eventually invite them along, but he invites them along in the game too. And when we get to the hotel scene in the game, him and Henry are hanging out. They're talking about motorcycles, and they've clearly built this bond. So I don't, excuse me. Oh, my voice went weird. I don't personally feel like Joel is part 2 Joel yet, because he hasn't got the experiences of everything he's gotten to yet. I still feel like he's very standoffish. Ellie is definitely the more open one, and this is especially when she says where they're going, he like snaps around at her. And I don't know. I say I'm down on it just because I don't like how much extra stuff we're getting, and I feel like we're losing Joel and Ellie's impactful story. And so we only got 4 episodes left, and there's a lot of stuff still going on. And I guess what they're trying to do is they're trying to expand the story so some of the more impactful moments hit for first-time viewers. And I don't know if they needed to, because the moments hit when you first experience them in the game. And we did get our first moment of this series where it felt like this was an adaptation of a game. I'm like, oh, this is a very gamey-ass thing, and that is the sniper sequence towards the end of episode 5. And I was like, oh, this is weird feeling. Like, it's the first time this has felt like this was adapted for a game, because that was a very gamey setup or sequence there to begin it. And I was like, oh, yeah, there's a sniper at the end of the road, and you have to get to the house. And I was like, that's the first time I felt like the show was adapted from a game. I think the show has done a great job of making it feel like this adaptation is a fresh way to tell the story. But that whole sniper sequence, I was like, this is a very gamey ass thing. Like, this usually doesn't happen in normal television and how it's set up.
And
go ahead.
so See, that's actually one of the scenes I'm talking about where Joel seems way different. Joel in the game, when he, like, let's say he gets to someone that's been literally trying to actively kill them in some way or form, he wouldn't blink an eye and shoot the person. But he's like, don't do it. Stop. Don't do it. It's like, what? You earlier with this dude that was begging on the ground with his legs broken. You stabbed him, didn't give a two craps. You didn't say, don't do it. Oh, we'll leave you here to be alive. Why did he act that way to the old man that was literally trying to actively kill them? And he's like, don't do it. You know, I'm going to let you live. That's literally one of the moments. That's a good thing you brought that up because that is one of the moments where I'm like, this feels weird. It feels like he's not himself. He's acting a little too nice. And especially when you literally watch the last episode where he actively killed someone with his legs broken to literally doing this. Like, doesn't that seem a little strange? Like, it doesn't make sense for his character to do that. Especially in the game when he clearly doesn't do that. He kills a lot of people. But I feel like in this, he's like, do I want to kill you? I don't know. Like, it's just really weird.
I think that's because they set it up as, you know, in the game, obviously, totally different character shooting at him. Not really, okay, saying a character is, it's a person. But it's clearly like, you know, in the show, there's, okay. You know what? We're going to spoil some stuff here. If you haven't watched The Last of Us, go to the timestamp, skip forward to Nintendo Direct Talks, then come on back after you've watched the episodes. If you have watched the episodes or if you have played the story, we're going to go into it here because it's kind of hard to talk comparisons without going into it. So, in the show, there's this old guy, and he's clearly not very good at shooting. He's there just to kind of be a barrier to the progress. And I think when Joel sees that old guy, he has every intention of going up there and killing this guy when he walks in. And when he sees this kind of old man who's just sitting there kind of firing randomly, not hitting him, it wasn't ever really a threat like, I mean, Joel says in the game, like, the guy can't shoot, it's dark outside, he's not going to hit me. So I think he sees that guy and there's a little bit of remorse, which is a totally different setup than in the game. In the game, there's just a random dude, he walks in and kills him. Doesn't think twice about it. So I think they're trying to show a little bit more sympathy in Joel for certain characters and changing the way that those characters are set up. I don't think they're changing Joel's character per se. I said he's still very standoff. To me, he's still very gruffish to me. But yeah, I think they're changing certain setups to kind of reveal a little bit more depth in Joel as a character and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know. But maybe that's just me. Again, who knows? I won't say again that I thought these episodes were bad, but I guess if you want real quick, we can just kind of go through each episode just a little bit. We don't have to go like timeline, blah, 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 but just more like I kind of want to give a review or a impression, I guess, a reaction to both episodes. If you're down for that.
Yeah, I mean, we can... I was going to talk about some of the good things. We're going to talk about some of the negative things. I think, especially 5, when the affected come to play, because like they talked about it in the post-show interview, they've been kind of holding off on a lot of the infected and making them really like set-piece moments. When the infected come to play, they don't fuck around in this show, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, that was... Yeah. That was some World War Z stuff right there. I was like, holy crap. Even Amy was like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah. Like, that was wild.
And I do want to say that even with the fact that I don't like how much they're expanding to some of these other characters, I think they, you know, just taking as a show, if I was just watching the show, the writing and all that is still top notch. You know, the acting and performances, it's all still incredible. I personally, knowing the story and knowing where it's going, don't love how much time we're spending away from Joel and Ellie. Now, that's not to say, like I said, the writing and all that, top-notch. Performances, top-notch. Best in class. I think it's all great television. Just as a whole, I feel like, you know, we're 5 episodes in. We're maybe a third of the way through the game. if you look at the Pittsburgh section, maybe more than that, a little bit over a third maybe. It's like we got still more than half this story left and only 4 episodes to tell it. And a lot of the stuff that happens in that second half of the game, pretty fucking impactful. And it's impactful because of how much time you spent setting up the different things that Joel and Ellie has gone through. And maybe it'll all come together. Maybe they'll be able to pull it off at the end here. And, I'll look back and like, okay, for what the story that they told here, you needed some more depth of these characters that we didn't see a whole lot of in the game. But I just want to say, quality-wise, as a show, it's still absolutely fantastic. We're just talking about our reactions and review and impressions of it from people who know the story and I think love the story. I love the story. I think Logan really likes it. So
No, I do love it.
Okay.
I mean, I really do like it a lot. But I guess I don't know, to make things a little bit easier. Episode 4, my overall thoughts of it was good, but I do want to say one negative about it. And I guess maybe because it's the shortest episode, I just felt like it was a very rushed episode. It felt like it was like bam, 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 bam. And then it was like, oh, okay. I don't know, it just felt weird, the 4th episode in that fact. Like, yeah, I know it's like a 2-parter thing, but I feel like compared to episode 5, I feel like episode 4 was far more rushed. And I almost, maybe that's because also, yeah, as you said, there's not a lot of time put on Joel and Ellie. There's a lot more. Here's the thing. Both 4 and 5, I think, are far better than episode 3 in the fact that at least they actually focus on Joel and Ellie, where, episode 3 basically barely focused on them at all. But yeah, 4 I felt was pretty rushed. I don't have any problems with like the way everything went down. I feel like they hit a lot of the key points that they did in the game. I feel like at least 4 and 5 did a really good job of at least hitting what, in my opinion, are the key points of the story. Like with the end of episode 5, which I'm really happy they didn't change that. I was really getting a little bit afraid there for a second there. I was like, you better not do what I think you're doing. I swear, if you're about to do what I think you're gonna do, I'm done with this show. But they didn't. So, and I will say also, I guess I am just gonna jump back and forth. Episode 5, I'm also really sad about the whole tunnel thing. Just don't even put it in there. Just don't even like they even put a little Easter egg in there with the little picture about the protectors.
You got,
and I'm like, why did you even add this? Why did you even add this other than just for the people that played the game? Like, it was a waste of time.
I mean, I don't think so at all, actually. Like, how else would you want them to put that into the show other than just put it in the school? Yes, you don't get the whole story of Ish in the show, but how do you pull that story off when the whole story of Ish takes place throughout the collectibles you acquire in the game? There's no great way to tell that story in the show, in my opinion. So I think they still got the key points that this is a moment of levity for the characters. Yes, you don't get the actual heartbreak of that story of Ish and all that in the game. You don't get that whole narrative while you're exploring the tunnels, but I think it still gives you this, in the show, this respite and this break from everything, and you see some humanity come out within the characters. So yes, it's not as impactful as it was in the game, but there's no way to tell the Ish story in the show and do it justice. I knew that going into it. There was no way to tell a collectible story within a very linear context of a TV show. But I do still think the tunnels section was pulled off the best that they could for adapting what it was to what it is,
Yeah. What do you also think of the whole, since we're on the tunnel scene, what do you think of Sam's change,
Okay, I was waiting to get to
Henry.
it.
Sorry, Henry, not Sam.
No,
Not
Sam's
Sam,
the kid.
sorry.
Henry's the
adult. Henry's change. I know Sam has a big change, but I mean, like, Henry's change to his character.
What do you mean? He's not that different of a character. I mean, they give him
soccer scene. You know what I mean? Because in the game, he is very against, like, Sam getting getting items and everything, and not really putting survival first. When Ellie and him try to have fun in the game, Henry always gets very upset and push off on that. Like he's like, you can't have fun. It's all serious. It's like we're in the apocalypse. So like, I thought that was a little strange. Again, I don't think from the normal person's perspective they're gonna notice this, so it's not a big deal. But for me, in a video game, like I was like, okay, all right. I mean, I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's just more like weird. Like, why? Why didn't they just keep him the same from the game? Why did they have to change him to be this more nicer brother thing? Like, I feel like in the game, he kind of fit the theme of Last of Us a little bit more about teaching how like these random people you met, they're all about survival first. Like Henry's very push off about having fun, and he doesn't, and it makes the ending a little bit more sad in my opinion. But in this, he's like, oh yeah, you have fun. Oh, look at that. They're doing so good. Oh man, I'm so happy for him. Oh, you want this? You can have it. Like that's not how he was in the game. And I thought that was kind of weird. But
Yeah,
I mean, each to their own. Like it's again, I don't think it's a huge difference of where it's making me upset, but it more just I feel like, in my opinion, and again, this is just my opinion. I just think that him being the way he was in the game adds more impact to the end because it makes it more sad. Because like Sam really barely got to have fun, and you kind of see that throughout the game. But in this, they're like, yeah, he's just a kid. You're gonna have a good time. You want that? You can have it. You can have it. I don't care. I just think that's a little different.
I'm glad you brought that to my attention because I wasn't really focused on that. But now that you say it, yeah, I do see that. And because I was more focused on Sam's change, which I think is an entirely pointless change. It's
a little bit of a weird one, but yeah, I think he, as a character, is still the same inside. Like he still acts the same as he did in the game a little bit. So he didn't change. Other than he can't talk. He can't.
He was always useless in the game too, and they just made him. I asked Peyton, I'm like, what's the point of making him more useless in the show? I'm like,
I know, right?
Yeah. He was and I don't say useless in like a bad way. Like, there was a juxtaposition in the game between who Ellie is and who she is and how she's able to handle herself. And then you see a kid in Sam who is, his brother is very protective of him and doesn't let him learn the way the world works. And that's kind of the juxtaposition between those two characters in the game. And you still get that here. I'm not saying you don't get that, but it's like, what's the point of making a useless character more useless in the show? Other than cultural impact of, having a deaf character, having a deaf actor play the deaf character. I don't want to get political or anything, but that's the only reason I saw for that change to exist. There was no storytelling aspect except making him more reliant on Henry, which he was already 100% reliant on Henry in the game. He couldn't do anything. He didn't know anything. He just could talk. So, or I guess could hear. And I don't really think they did a good job of exploring the significance of a deaf person being in the apocalypse in a meaningful capacity to facilitate the necessity for that character change. So I was focused very heavily on Sam. That's why I missed the Henry stuff. But now that you say that, it did kind of pop in my head. I was like, oh yeah, Henry was kind of a dick. And that made sense for The Last of Us. So as we're moving on, maybe I'm sitting here and I'm starting to realize they're making the world of The Last of Us a nicer place in the show than it was in the game.
Yeah, like they're really nerfing the whole point of The Last of Us story. It's not a super happy story. There's a lot of really messed up stuff that happens on their journey. And it kind of just makes them grow as characters and see just how really fucked up this world is. And I feel like in the show, they're really trying to make it almost like nicer in a sense, like they're not showing. I mean, I guess in episode 5, you could say at the end they did show how messed up it can be, but I feel like the impact wasn't as much as the game because, well, compared to the whole test thing, that was actually more impactful in the game than her. And it still hit, but I think it could have been even more if they kept Henry the same way, where he was the way he was in the game, because he was a lot more stuck on survival. He didn't.
He was
want
just protective.
Sam to have fun. And it was great, and I liked that because it was interesting. But this being like, oh, he has fun. He's good. Like what? I felt like it didn't have the same impact because I feel like it really made it even more just sad because he didn't let Sam just kind of be a kid, but he also really cared about him and showed how much more he cared. And you still see that he cares about his brother clearly. The whole plot point with the villain of these 2 episodes is literally all about Henry making sacrifices to make his brother, help his brother survive, basically. And I feel like, but though I just feel like the game version of him is just so much better because he's just a lot more.
Well, he feels like, he's more smart about what the world is in the game. He knows what the world is, and his singular goal is to try to get Sam essentially to the point of where Ellie is, where she can have fun and she can enjoy herself. We see that in the game all the time, but she still understands what this world is. Yeah. And also, I was immediately annoyed at Sam as a character when they're hiding in the attic and like Henry's trying to like look at what the enemies are, and the kid just fucking bangs on the floor, and I'm like, what are you doing? I know you're deaf. I understand that. But don't fucking bang on the floor, you idiot. I was immediately pissed off. So.
No, I feel that, dude. That actually pissed me off.
I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Serious? Like, he literally sign language that he's looking for people outside, and then he still continues to hit.
And the kid's like, I'm hungry.
Really loud.
I'm like, bitch, you're in the apocalypse. Sometimes you're going to be hungry. Get the fuck over it.
And again, that's another good example of how Henry was just so nice to him. Like, didn't really put a lot of like authority in his role with his brother because he's the authoritative one. He's like the parent of this, this group. So like, he really. I just feel like he was way too nice.
I was immediately pissed off at that kid, and then I just spent the rest of the episode just looking at the flaws in Sam's character. But also, the last thing before we move on, let's get to the end. The true impactful moment it's a very, very impactful moment in the game. They pull the rug out from underneath you crazily. Sam, the kid, gets bit, starts to turn, and Henry has to shoot his brother, which in turn leads to Henry taking his own life. It's a hugely impactful moment in the game. I think it still hits here in the show. But I think when the time came, I was still a little irked over what I can only say is a really dumb scene when Ellie tries to cure him with her blood. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? This is just kind of a dumb plot point. I guess it uses or plays a role as like Ellie's trying to figure out her importance in this world. And that's a huge plot point of part 1 and part 2 of The Last of Us game. You just don't see it. It doesn't manifest its way visually as much. It's more of like a character trait in the back end that you understand throughout the game, that Ellie is searching for her importance in this universe, in this world, and then they hammer that home, her want and need for importance and to be a hero in part 2. They really hammer that idea home. And I think this was more of a very straightforward way to show her searching for that importance. I just didn't love the way that they did it, because like when she started doing it, she's like, oh, my blood can cure. I was like, what? No, it doesn't, you dumbass. I don't know. I didn't like that scene at all. And then we immediately go into the very impactful scene, which I was taken aback from because I was still distracted by the previous minute or so of TV that I just watched. So, and again, we knew it was coming, so it's not as impactful obviously here. I think I really want to be able to talk to someone who's experiencing this story for the first time and see what they have to say. Because I'm experiencing this story for the 5th time now, something like that.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I like about watching it with Amy, because she hasn't experienced the story.
Okay,
she doesn't know like any of these, so she really liked it so far. I mean, she even liked episode 3, but I mean, I think she kind of agrees with me. But I don't know about that. But I mean, so far she's been liking it. I don't think she's had any problems with anything that's happened or anything like that. I'll have to ask her. Maybe sometime I'll have to bring her on here and hear her opinion so far of the show. But I think that'd be pretty interesting because, yeah, she's like the only person I know that, well, I mean, other than some other people that Amy's talking to that have been really liking the show too. Which, by the way, shout out. I love that they put Tommy, the dude does voice actor.
Yeah, I mean,
episodes.
Everybody who everyone who did significant voice acting for the show, for the game, is in the show. I think everybody
Yeah.
but Nolan North. If you know anything about that, Nolan North voices Drake in the Uncharted, and he voices David in this game. Which once you know that he voices both those characters, it's wild how good he is at voice acting. That's insane that he voices both of those characters because they don't sound the same at all. And I don't think that he's in this show. I know that both Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson are in the show later on. So we'll see how they came in. So I think everybody but Nolan North is in this show that had a significant role to play in the game. Well, other than the lady who originally voiced Tess, but she just recently died, so that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I want to move on. I'm just overall, I'm so far a little annoyed that I feel like they're expanding this story, but in that expansion, they're not focusing enough on Joel and Ellie to really hammer home the end of this story. And that's kind of what I'm not fearing, because it's like, so if this isn't as good as the game, whatever, I still have the game, and I still love the story. But I also want everyone out there experiencing this for the first time to get the whole impact of what, in my opinion, is one of the best stories ever told in gaming. And for me, again, this is not a fair way to come at this, but for me, it's losing itself a little bit so far. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
let's hope. It's interesting
so far,
to see. It's
1 through 5. It's What? Go on.
I was gonna say
cut you off.
no. I was gonna say it's interesting to see that they're setting the meeting of Tommy already in the town instead of the hydro plant that we meet him in the first game. Because if you look at the preview, they're already in the town of Jackson when they meet each other, which you don't ever.
Yeah, I need to look that up.
Yeah, you don't
I
ever
haven't seen the
see
movie yet.
you don't ever see the town of Jackson in the first game. You don't get there till the second game. And it's interesting to see that they're already placing the meetup there and not in the hydropower plant that you meet him in the first time. That's
Which I gotta say, it probably is better that they do just meet in the town, because I don't think the hydro plant really did anything for the story other than to just add some gamey stuff to it. So I think
that's true.
Honestly, it's probably a good thing that they just kind of go to the town first and foremost. But yeah, I mean, so far again, episode 1 through 5, I'm still enjoying myself. I'm still intrigued and interested, not interesting, very interested in still seeing this new story for TV. It's really hard sometimes, obviously, even for, as you even say, it's really hard. This is the first thing I think I've ever watched where I've kind of either, I played this game, so I know the story and everything. So I know all the beats. I know all the things about how it goes down. And so it's a little hard to kind of turn my brain off of what I've seen in the game to the show. And it's hard to get in that mindset of I'm watching this show called The Last of Us. I have no idea what is going to happen. So it's tough because it probably is altogether still a great show so far, but I still think, though, obviously, since it's adapted, we gotta, obviously compare in some ways or form. And I mean, still, I feel like most of the beats from the game they're hitting, so I'm not hating it, but I just think they need to stop changing characters. Just stop. Some of these changes don't make any sense. If anything, it makes literally no sense at all why they're changing some of these characters.
Yeah,
I feel like they're making big changes with some of these characters. I'm like, why? Why do you need to do that? You have a story in front of your face. Keep it the way it is. Obviously, change it for TV. Make it more interesting for TV and less gamey. I mean, again, as you said, the most gamey part was that sniper scene, and that was it. So, I don't know.
Well, I just think, the changes they made in episode 1 and 2, I actually really love those, and I think it adapted it very well for television. The changes to how the virus works or the fungus works. Also just the change to why Joel is going on this adventure to get the battery, to get to his brother. All those things make a little bit more urgency. But then the changes we've got in 3, 4, and 5 and expansions, haven't really hit home. And I think if you're going to change something, change it to impact the story of the character that you're telling. Change it to impact Joel and Ellie's story. And I just asked the question of, how does Sam being deaf impact Joel and Ellie?
Yeah, I don't know why they did that, but also I don't know. Amy brought up a point. Maybe he just tried out for the role and he did a really good job. So who knows? Again, I think it didn't do anything for him being deaf. Does it do anything for the story? No.
I mean, I guess it
But
doesn't
I
take
don't
anything
feel
away
like
either.
yeah, it doesn't really take anything away from me either. Now, and again, it's not a huge different problem, but I still think Henry changing him, that's a little bit more of a weird choice to me. But again, I don't hate 4 and 5. I actually personally really enjoyed 4 and 5 more than episode 3 because it did at least have more in Joe and Ellie. I do hope, again, the rest of this season they put a little bit more emphasis on Joel and Ellie because they're. I mean, yeah, as you said, we're about to get to the biggest, kind of the biggest like twist and biggest the big one is what I'm going to call it. You know, like we're getting there. And if they keep focusing so much on these side characters and less on Joel and Ellie, I don't think it's going to have the same impact as it did in the game. Because again, it's about Joel and Ellie. It's about the evolution of their relationship throughout the game, and it kind of needs the hit in this show. And again, I don't know. Maybe whenever it ends, I think we'll bring Amy on to see what she has to say about it. Because again, she's never played the game. I think she kind of knows what happens at the end, but she doesn't know all the story beats. She doesn't know how everything goes down because she constantly is asking me like, "Is this how it went down?" And I'm like, "No, not really." But but like I do want to see. I kind of want to hear her opinion whenever the show completely ends. I want to see what she thinks of it. I'll try not to sway her opinion.
Oh yeah, obviously,
video game. Yeah.
So I did think you know, this in my mind, a lot of the problems we have, or that I have, could have been rectified by just making this one longer episode and not two more compact episodes. Like if this was like an hour and 20-minute episode instead of a 40+ minute episode, then another 50+ minute episode. If this was one like hour and a half long episode, you could get the character expansions that you wanted. You could tell the story, have a reason that these people are fighting Joel and Ellie and Sam and Henry, and then still have 5 episodes to tell the rest of the story. Because so far we've still only really got to the setup of the story. Yeah, we have so much to get through. The big impactful moment, the whole section during winter. You had the whole David storyline, and in my eyes, David is a much more interesting character for what the world of The Last of Us is, and you get a very dark and decrepit version of what humanity could be. And if they don't expand on David's character, but they did expand on some of these other characters, I'm going to be very annoyed. Like, we're getting all this expansion, and I think David is a much more important character for what the world of The Last of Us is and what it can be and what it is in the game to expand on than putting in this brand new character to give a reason to why Henry and Sam are trying to escape the city. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I really hope they kind of keep David the same way he was in the game. Again, they keep making all these weird character changes with some of the side characters. I don't think Bill was excessively changed other than, I guess he was a little bit more kind and nice and understanding. So I guess it is a pretty big change, but they better not change David. Keep him the way he is.
I'm not saying change David. I said expand on David.
No, I know. I'm not saying you said change. I'm saying, like, I really just hope they keep him the way he is because I think, yeah, he, again, is a good example of this Last of Us universe. He's like probably the worst one you meet throughout the entire game. Well, not probably, he is the worst you meet throughout the entire game. But it's very interesting. And
I can tell you why he is, but
yeah. But I mean, I am still excited to keep watching this. I'm excited to see where they keep going with this. I just hope they don't mess it up anymore. I don't think they absolutely demolish the show. It's not Halo, but it's still just it is kind of worrying me a little bit more.
We haven't seen any Joel ass yet.
That's true. Please no.
Please no Joel ass.
Yeah, no, we don't need to see his ass. Please.
No Joel booty cheeks yet.
I beg you.
All right, let's go to the. Oh, sorry, you were in the middle of saying something. My bad.
Oh, I don't know. I guess I'm just a little. I
distracted you with booty cheeks.
Yeah. I don't know. I definitely am starting to get a little bit more worried, but I will also say episode 4 and 5 did kind of alleviate some of my worry a little bit because I know they are different, but I still feel like they hit all the key points, which is what I was hoping for, and they're still doing some of the things from the games and keeping a lot of good lines from the game too, which I really love. But I just hope they don't go back to the episode 3 thing again. Please, please don't do that again. Because if you do that in these next few episodes, you're not going to have enough time to continue this whole character development thing. So I really hope that was a one-time thing. Please.
Before we move on, I do want to say we've been talking a lot about, quote unquote negatives or just comparisons between the game. I do want to just end this with saying it's still fantastic television. It's still absolutely incredible action set pieces. It looks beautiful. All the work that has gone into the show is an incredible piece of entertainment media property. It's just coming from a games perspective and comparing here, because what we do, we're a gaming podcast. Well, we're a pop culture podcast, but mostly focused on gaming. We're comparing this to, so far, a better version of the story that was told in the game so far, in my opinion. But it still is, like I said, really great television. All right. Our final pots, also called point of the show. Nintendo graced us with their first Direct of the year, entitled the Nintendo Direct February 2023. Very good title. So we're gonna run through this pretty quickly. Talk about some of the highs, some of the lows. We're not gonna go beat by beat like we do sometimes. Mostly because I don't think there's a lot to go beat by beat here. But so to start this all off, I just wanted to ask Logan, give me some of your highs, give me some of your lows. Tell me, what you thought overall about this Nintendo Direct, and go ahead and put a score on it, sir.
All right. I guess the best way to summarize it is they showed a lot, but also showed a little. I think it was, overall good. I wouldn't say it was great or fantastic. I feel like they did show quite a bit, which doesn't really entitle it to be a great one. I don't know. I mean, I guess, they had some surprises. Well, one surprise in there with the whole, Metroid thing. But I don't know.
I think there's two surprises.
It's really hard to put a beat on this one because I don't know whether to be disappointed or to be just say it's like I just think it's just good. It was good. I just don't think it really did much more than what probably the last one did, in my opinion. Yeah, they had a surprise in there. I wouldn't really say that's such an amazing surprise. It's just a remaster. Sorry. I know it looks beautiful and everything, but like, I don't know, where's Metroid 4? But other than that, I don't know. I guess it's like it's a very indifferent thing. I guess when we get more deep into it, I can say more, but I just think overall it was good, wasn't great, wasn't amazing. I wouldn't say everything blew me away. Like, whoa, this was like so crazy. I just think some of it was good. Some parts really hit, but a lot of it, like especially like they hit a lot at the beginning, and then the middle it just kind of like fell apart, and then at the very end they started to hit again, but it didn't have the impact that I was hoping for. So I know I'm rambling on now, so I'm just gonna put a score on it real quick. We're doing out of 5, right?
Yeah. No, we score like movies and shows and oh my god, showcases, directs, whatever, fucking people talking. We do out of 5.
So I would say if we could do a 0.5, I'll say 3.5 out of 5 for me. It's like borderline up there with 4, but it just isn't there for me.
All right, I'm gonna give this a 2.5. I don't think it's bad. A 2 is bad on our scale. A 3 is good. I don't think this is a good Direct. But I don't think it's a terrible Direct either because of what happens at the end of the Direct and some of the things that happened. I popped for Metroid Prime Remaster. I love Metroid Prime. Yes, obviously I want 4, but I wanted to come at the end of the year because that's what I predicted. So I want to get the points. But Metroid Prime Remastered, huge announcement. I think it's fantastic news for the future of the Metroid Prime that we're getting the remastered. So obviously they're setting it up for 4 at some point in time. I think that it's a shadow drop. That's really cool. We got some good stuff in here, mostly towards the end. Nintendo Switch Online, Game Boy Advance games. That was cool. Yes, it's still locked behind the paywall. So if you had a problem with that before, you still got a problem with this now. I don't engage too much with the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack, also known as the worst title thing of all time. I don't engage with that too much, but I know people out there.
They could have called it New Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah, it's true.
Please no.
But I know the people out there that engage with some of the older stuff, very excited about this. I think the Game Boy Advance lineup is way too Mario heavy. We got 6 games, 4 of them are Mario games. Not a single one of any of the Game Boy or Game Boy Advance games are Pokemon. What the fuck's up with that? And then obviously Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom looks fucking incredible. That music, Jesus, man. Looks like another amazing outing. I can't wait to play it. But outside of those 3 or 4 big things, the rest of this was a whole lot of whatever. A lot of expansion pass stuff, a lot of updates on things, some games that don't really matter. Like we said, we always say there's going to be stuff in there that you and I aren't fans of or somebody isn't fans of. But there's always going to be, somebody's into some of this stuff. But for me, as who I am, 90% of this was a bunch of nothing. Sea of Stars looks amazing. I am so excited. We got a date for Sea of Stars. Finally, August 29th is coming out. You can play the demo right now. If you are excited about that game, I'm hugely excited for that game, not only for a Fantasy Critic League, but also just I love old school turn-based JRPGs. I love Chrono Trigger. I love Final Fantasy from the PS1 era, and this looks like from the NES era. This looks like an ode to those games. So I like Sea of Stars. I love seeing Metroid Prime. Game Boy Advance and Game Boy games were cool, and Zelda looked great. Everything else in here, I think, was just a bunch of random updates. Some whole lot of nothing. We got a Fashion Dreamer, which I guess is something that people are excited about. Pikmin 4 getting a release date. Advance Wars 1 and 2 finally getting a release date. And yeah, by the way, I thought it was funny how DJ slow rolled you into not drafting it and then wasn't up on the news, so he got beat out for it anyway. So I thought that was anyways. that was super funny. But yeah, so Pikmin at the beginning of the show looks good. I'm not a Pikmin guy. I know people are excited about that, but the rest of this was a whole lot of absolutely nothing to me. But I don't think I can quite give it bad with a couple of cool, surprising announcements at the end. A bad is something that doesn't give us anything. This still gave us some things, but I don't think it was a good showing by Nintendo. I think there's a lot more out there that they could have showed us, and maybe they will later on in the year. This clearly was an update for the first half of the year. They usually do that. So I think there's 1 or 2 good things, most of it not that great things. So that's why I sit at a 2.5. Not quite bad, but I don't actually think it was a good showing either. That's my overall whole opinion on it. Anything you wanted to shout out here that I missed covering over that you wanted to kind of pinpoint on? Is there anything you saw here that you're like, oh yeah, this is great, other than the big ones?
I mean, again, I'm not saying Metroid Prime Remaster is a bad thing, especially at least they're not charging $60. If they would have charged $60, I would have had a bit more of a problem with it. But $40 and its Shadow Drop was pretty cool because it was really funny. I was looking at YouTube, and then all of a sudden I see IGN post a video about Metroid Prime Remaster. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, I didn't even realize that there was a Nintendo Direct that happened, because for some reason I never seen it at all, or I never saw it. So it was kind of,
they announced it the day before,
random.
so
that's what I'm saying. It was very random. So then I came upon it and I watched the entire Direct from beginning to end. I do think Metro Prime Remaster does look really cool, and it looks like actually a good remaster. I did listen to our podcast with this is basically a remake. I'm like, no, not really. It's got a very nice coat of paint. It looks very clean. They updated the controls, and that's it. It's a remaster. There's nothing wrong with that. It looks like a very good remaster, but it's not a remake. I hope people don't think it's a remake. It's definitely not a remake. It's a remaster. It looks great. Obviously, gameplay thing's cool. I agree with you. Even though I'm not a big Pokemon fan, I'm kind of surprised Pokemon wasn't one of the big ones they put on here. I mean, don't get me wrong. Mario's are great, especially Super Mario Bros. 3. Love that game. But I just... I can't care. I kind of care less about this crap because, well, you know my take on it. I don't really like the fact that they're putting it behind a paywall, and especially whenever Nintendo Switch Online goes away, these games are gone. Hope people know that you're paying for this money to get to play these old ass games that probably you can get online for free and probably find another way to do it, and you're not even getting to keep them. They're just gonna go away as soon as Nintendo Switch goes away and the online ends. Those games, they're gone. That's why I don't like about this, because it's like you can't download them, you can't purchase them, you don't own them, and yet you're paying this monthly subscription for old ass games that literally makes no sense to me. I just don't like it. I like what PlayStation and Xbox is doing. Anyways, PlayStation has not released anything in like a century, it seems like now. I don't know why.
Well, they have. It's just that
heard,
stuff. I mean, they just came out with Siphon Filter 3. And you may not
Oh,
like
okay.
it, but like, you know, they came out with Siphon Filter 2,
no, I'm not
Siphon
saying it's
Filter
a bad
3.
thing. I didn't know.
They
didn't
just
know that.
recently went back and added trophies to a lot of the like PSP titles, which originally didn't have trophies at the launch of the service. So they are adding things, but yeah, it's definitely not at a rate that, you know, all of us like out there. But they're slow rolling it, I guess.
Still waiting for SOCOM. Just kidding. But I don't know,
you're gonna get it. SOCOM remastered by Bluepoint.
dude. If they do it, it's over, man. But yeah, no, it's cool. I think Game Boy stuff is great. I love the Game Boy. I grew up as a kid playing with Game Boy. I love the Game Boy. It's like honestly up there with one of my favorite portable consoles out there. I love that thing. It's so good. I have a. I used to play the Spider-Man game on there, and it was so good. But other than that, you know, it's good news. It's cool, I guess. Again, don't like the, you know, as I said about the money thing, especially the fact that you have to pay for the expansion pack just to play Game Boy Advance games. Like, come on now. But all right.
Yeah,
other than that,
they included Game Boy games with just regular Nintendo Switch Online, but to play Game Boy Advance games, you have to have Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pass.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Which, by the way, that's not me describing it. That's literally the name. It's called Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pass.
Plus expansion pack.
So dumb.
But other than that, I'm happy to see Advance Wars got a release date. I freaking, as soon as I watched this and I seen that it actually had a date within this year, I jumped on that like no tomorrow, because I knew I wanted to get this game. And every game I put up there, you guys keep stealing. So I put some money on it, some good money on it, because I feel like it's going to do very well and it looks great.
Question: how much did you put on Replaced?
I put like $5.
Okay, I put $6. Normally,
you pay me up by $1. That's hilarious.
Well, because I was guessing, because I'm like, okay, whoever added this may have just added it for like one. I thought it was you, because I don't know if the other guys know about Replaced or anything. So I'm like, he usually puts like $1, a couple dollars. I know he really likes this game. I'm really excited about this game, so maybe he put 5. So I'm like, let me go with 6. I originally put 10, but I was like, no, he probably didn't put 9 or anything like that. So let me put 6. And if I don't get it, I don't get it. Whatever. But so I put 6, and yeah. So that was
a good one, because like I didn't think I was gonna notice, and I was like, yeah, I'll put like $5 down. You know, I'll put $5. So
I've been waiting for that.
I'll hopefully beat out somebody.
I've been waiting for that to pop up on the bids. I'm like, all right, now's my time to jump in. So
it looks great. I think it will score insanely well. So
I'm very much slow rolling this year, just trying to get the best scoring games I can for as low as I can. So I'm playing a different game than you guys, I guess.
Well, I've been trying to do that, but I keep stealing my shit. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna actually start putting some money down. I've been putting a lot on that. I think for Last of Us multiplayer, I think I put $1 down. But because I know that for sure is coming out this year. I know for a fact. If it does not release this year, then just don't release it, Sony. Give up on it. But I really hope it is releasing this year, because as I said with my prediction, I assume it's going to be. But yeah, other than that, Advance Wars, awesome to see that I got a release date. I'm actually kind of excited for this game. I think I played it on the Game Boy Advance a long time ago. It's a very good game. It looks cool, and I especially love that they're adding this whole creative mode to it, which looks super cool. So yeah, can't wait for that to release. A bunch of meh through here. I'm gonna jump to the big boy itself. Good old Legend of Zelda. I've been very iffy on this game because of the new news of it being $70, which is a bit weird. but I don't know. I kind of was a little bit more irked when I first learned it was $70, but then I'm like, I don't know. Again, you already know your take on it, but it's just like, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think what they showed really did anything for me. It didn't really like wow me. It's I guess obviously it's not gonna have the same impact as Breath of the Wild because Breath of the Wild was a wholly new thing, and this really isn't a wholly new thing. They're adding it's basically, and this might hurt a lot of people's feelings, but it kind of just looks like an expansion pack for Breath of the Wild, where literally it's looks like it's the exact same world, but with some additional items put in there, and the sky and a car that you could drive around. I don't know. I feel like they're not really putting their best stuff forward with this game. And every time they show it, it just looks the same over and over again. I'm not expecting the graphics to look completely different, but I don't know. Show a little bit more, please. I'm sure it's gonna be great, but like I just don't think they're really showing the best stuff they got for this game. So I don't know. It's weird. So also that collector's edition is hot garbage. Dude. That's probably up there now with the Hogwarts Legacy of probably one of the worst looking
I saw
collector's
people
editions I've ever seen.
I saw people reacting to it. They're like, "Oh, look at this god tier collector's edition." I'm like, "What? You don't even get a statue with it."
Are you serious? That's god tier. Like,
Oh,
that
man.
is like the worst. Dude.
You don't understand Nintendo fans yet. They're almost as bad as Apple fans. Oof.
Yeah,
but but yeah, no, they are just like, "Oh, this is one of the best collector's editions Nintendo's ever done." I'm like, well, then Nintendo sucks at collector's editions, because
dude, Breath of the Wild was so much better looking.
How much is it? I didn't even look it up because I didn't care.
$130.
Okay, that's not bad.
I mean, it's not as bad
$130.
as Hogwarts. That was a little bit excessive, but like
a little bit.
It's still okay. It was very excessively expensive, but I still just don't see how this is worth $130. You get what, an art book, a steelbook case, a poster, and 4 pin badges. Wow, that's $130.
Yeah, so $60 extra for that stuff. Hey, art books can be expensive. Some of the art books I bought are $50, but those are like full-fledged art books. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. As I said, overall, I thought it was a pretty, average to below average showcase. I see a lot of people reacting out there. I thought it was absolutely incredible. And I think that's just because, Metroid Prime's there, some Game Boy stuff there, and Zelda was there. And like all three of those things, like I said, are really good, but that doesn't make a great 44-minute show. The rest of the 44 minutes, or the rest of the 40 minutes, were pretty mediocre, if not crap, in my eyes. So,
no, I agree with you. Yeah, there's not a lot to showcase here. That's why I can't give it like that 4. I still think I still stick by my score of 3.5. It's just, it was good, and it had some good things to showcase there. Obviously, I mean, at least they're showing games and releasing stuff, cough Xbox. So I got to give them props for that. They are still showing a lot of stuff, which also, by the way, I want to touch on this. Dude, why is the Mario Kart new whatever wave only have one map? One? I thought everyone was supposed to have like a ton of courses. Why does it just have one course? Am I wrong, or do I not understand what is with this? I don't get it. You get Birdo and you get one racetrack. Is that really it?
Hold on, I'm
looking it up
because I didn't really play. Yeah, Mario Kart Deluxe Wave 4 adds new Yoshi Island track. Is that it?
That's what I'm saying. Is that it? Like, they're supposed to have like what? How many courses in total within the entire thing? Maybe I'm just not looking at the math correctly, but I just think it's really strange that they released one track and then a character. Which, by the way, a character isn't a track. I hope you know that, Nintendo. A character is not a track. You can't drive on that character. So that's not a track. So I'm not hating that they added a character, but I'm hoping they're not assuming that we're going to think the character's a track, because it's not. So I don't know. I think this is a weird wave for the new thing. I mean, I haven't played many of these courses anyway, but I do plan on getting it. I do plan on getting it when it's like completely done, because then I could just have them all at once. I played all of them. I will say I played a little bit of it, and I do like them a lot. I think they're doing a good job with that, but I just think this wave is a bit of a weird one. one
Yeah.
racetrack and a character.
I
That's
don't know.
weird.
I'm not paying too much attention, but I bought it, so it's there whenever I want it. So I'm not really paying
True.
too much attention. So when it's all done, we're still gonna get 48 courses. So, but yeah, I do gotta think if you're, I guess, one of those people that is waiting with bated breath for the next DLC wave for Mario Kart, that this might be a little bit of a disappointment. Me, I'm just like, whatever, it's there, I'll play it. So
Yeah.
all right.
But yeah, other than that, I think that's it. That's all I gotta say about the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, I think overall for me, pretty disappointing. Not a whole lot here other than kind of the end of it. So we're going to go on now to Around the Point. Not a whole lot here to talk about, but a couple things I wanted to shout out. If you don't know out here, this is the segment where we go around the video game world and give you the news that you need to know about. Number one on Around the Point, we're wrapping back around to Hogwarts Legacy, which is off to a magical start. I got you. Over on our favorite streaming website, Twitch. It's killing it. So in the pre-release period, also known as the pre-access period, this game broke the Twitch record with over 1.3 million concurrent viewers. That is the now single player record. So definitely not multiplayer. Some of those are like 6 million views for Valorant and Warzone and all that. But for single player games, it is now the number one most viewed concurrent game, breaking Cyberpunk's record of I think 1.2 something million views. So congratulating that. People seem to be very much engaged with it. Speaking of engagement, like we all knew, there is a lot of discourse and recourse around this game. We're not going to get into it here, just because we just want to have fun. We just want to talk about some video games, and we're not going to get into any political discourse out there. So if you don't want to play this game, don't play it. If you do want to play it, enjoy it, whatever. Anyway, it is now the second most streamed game of all time, falling just shy of Cyberpunk 2077's record for single player games. It had an all-time peak of 489,139 players, which breaks Fallout 4, who previously held the place for the second highest single player only game. So all those numbers don't really matter. I just wanted to shout out there, for those of you that are enjoying this game, I'm happy you're enjoying it. We are also enjoying it, even though I'm slightly let down by it, like we talked about. But Logan, what do you think about the reception of the game? Not just critically, commercially, it seems to be off the charts. I think it's the number one selling game on Steam right now. It probably will be the best selling game of this year, depending on what happens with Call of Duty. It has quickly skyrocketed through all the charts. So in my eyes, that's good. I'm glad for the developers. I'm glad that their hard work has paid off. So what do you think about all this?
Honestly, yeah, I'm extremely happy for the developers on this because they deserve it. This game is really great, especially because, again, as I said before, their past work was Cars 3. So just put that in perspective, that they made this game after making Cars 3. And I'm just very impressed, and I'm very happy that it's doing good. I know all the way from the beginning when we first got the first trailer of this game, our skepticism about how it was going to be, if it's going to be any good at all. I mean, my worries went all the way to the point I had it downloaded and I finally got to play it because I was extremely worried. I didn't look up anything other than I seen some reviews. They're all great. Some people reviewed it higher than others. But it's really good to see that it's in the 80s, 86, I believe, right now. And I'm very happy to see it. I'm very happy to see that a lot of people are playing it. And really, what?
It dropped to 85.
85, yeah.
It took away my bullseye, the fuckers.
Yeah, I'm very happy about this game. I'm very happy that it's doing well. And I mean, this is great for especially the Harry Potter fans out there because they finally are getting what, in my opinion, is a great game for Harry Potter fans. And I kind of hope this will clearly, I feel like there's going to be some kind of sequel or something because they're probably making bank off this game right now. And they're probably just going to get someone, whoever is in charge of this, probably Warner Bros. They're just going to give them a blank check and say, make another one. And so that excites me. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of sequel or something for this. But yeah, no, other than that, I think this is all just great news. Very happy for them. They definitely deserve it.
You want to hear my idea for a sequel?
What's that?
So my idea for the sequel is to take your character here, very similar to what Mass Effect did. You could import, your character. And even though there's not really many decisions so far that like impact the overall narrative and game, which they said there wasn't going to be, you can decide what kind of wizard you're going to be. But I think it'd be really cool if you take this in to the next game, which is set, 20 or 30 years in the future. So the 1930s or something like that, which is during the first Wizarding War. And you get to play as your character, a much older version of your character, fighting on either side of the Wizarding War. Whether you want to be a bad wizard, you would obviously fight on Grindelwald's side and Voldemort's side. Oh, wait, those two aren't together. Yeah, it's Grindelwald's side, and then if you want to, you can fight on Dumbledore's side of the war. So, but I guess that would be really bad because we already got the first Wizarding War in the Fantastic Beasts movies, and it sucked. So
yeah,
the movies sucked. The war doesn't suck. The lore around the war is really cool, but like the movies depicting that are kind of garbage. So I know that is a preposterous statement for your wife, but I'm sorry.
No, she didn't like the last one at all.
She absolutely hated it. I hated the second one.
I like the first one. I think that's the only one I actually enjoyed because it was good. Like it was good. It was kind of like basically Star Wars 7 Force Awakens. Basically, that's what it was.
But that's a good shout out. A great setup.
Yeah.
Very similar in many ways, but a good setup, and then they just shit the bed with the rest of it.
I know, like, what? It's funny that, like, two of the biggest franchises out there both literally do the same thing. They literally both start with a very good movie, and then, they shit the bed for the rest of them. And it's like, it really sucks, because, again, I think the Fantastic Beasts #1 was a very good setup. It was very interesting. I actually liked the characters. I liked the story. But, yeah, after that, it was not great, to say the least. But, no, yeah. I don't know if you got any more to say about it. I don't got much more to say other than I'm just happy for them.
I do not. So, good for them. Congratulations. Number 2 on Around the Point. This is pretty much, I threw this in here for some good news for Logan. Respawn has come out and announced that they will be adding a much requested feature to the upcoming Star Wars Jedi Survivor. And that is fast travel, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it's coming in. Don't worry, all your complaints have been rectified. Speaking with Stig Asmussen, he has said that we feature both fast travel and rideable characters to help players quickly get from point A to B and back to A. The fast travel is point to point, and the rideable characters offer a way to quickly negotiate between points and explore what is in between. That comes from Stig Asmussen, the director of Star Wars Jedi Survivor and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And for those of you who don't know out there, the director of God of War 3. So, don't know if you knew that out there, but now you do. So, he worked on all of the original God of War games and then directed the third game. So, the dude knows what he's doing when he makes a video game. So, there you go. What do you think about this? Were you excited? I'm sure you were excited. Are you more excited to play this game now, or are you actually going to play this game now?
I probably will actually play it now. They are going to fix literally my biggest complaint of the first one. So I gotta give him that, and I probably will play it, actually. Because, again, it looks cool. You know how I am with Star Wars shit. I love Star Wars. So I want to support this game, because I think this is, like, one of the best single-player Star Wars games out right now that has not only blown me away the first time, and the way it looked and the way it played, other than the fact of getting to point A and B. This one, I feel like, is going to be the one for me. It's going to suck, because I won't probably get all the first story, but maybe I'll just look up what happens in the first story, because I got through most of the first one, but I just stopped, and I just didn't care because I got bored. But this looks great, so I'm excited.
All right, number 3 on Around the Point. We've been giving you guys some sales updates on some of the games as they come rolling in to us and the internet out there. Since we're at the end of the year, we get a lot more sales updates than we usually do. This one for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Nintendo has revealed that it has sold more than 18 million units to customers, 18.2 being the exact number as of the end of December 2022, and it has shipped more than 20 million units to retailer, the exact number being 20.61. So that puts it at number 7 on the best-selling Switch games of all time, sits right behind Super Mario Odyssey and Pokemon Sword and Shield. The number 1 selling Switch game, as we all know, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which sits at 52 million units sold. So congratulations, another wild success. I guess congratulations. You make this much fucking money and you can't make your game run at 30 frames a second. And it's coming from a guy that put 80 hours into Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and enjoyed his time overall. Enjoyed his time the more he played and the more he got over the problems with the game. But yeah, I guess congratulations. Nintendo makes more and more money on these Pokemon games. That's awesome. I'm really glad for you. But please put that money back into the games. Please. Logan.
Yeah, this just shows that no matter what, they're going to make that money. And yeah, I don't really see this as much of a positive because I know for a fact they're not going to learn anything from at all. They're just going to take that money, do the same thing they just did with this game, and people are going to buy it up and eat it up and make the exact same same issues that they've done before. They're never going to fix it. So I wouldn't expect much for any more Pokemon games after this. Because, I mean, I do like this game. Don't get me wrong. I think the core of it is very fun and enjoyable. And I do like the new addition to the open world and everything. But the game just runs so bad. And I really do think that if it ran a lot better, maybe, as you said, smooth 30, I think a lot more people would be more happy about it. But it doesn't matter if you're happy. They made the money. And corporate, when they see that money, they're like, well, we didn't do anything wrong. We made a lot of money. So
I just ran the numbers real quick. 20 million units sold at $59.99, $60, which the game is still at, is roughly equivalent to just over $1.2 billion. So
yeah.
This game probably cost them 100 to 150 million, and that's on the high end because like God of War cost Sony 162, I think, $1 million to make. So I would blink an eye if someone said this game cost the same amount to make that God of War Ragnarok did. So let's just say this game costs $100 million. They have made what 12 times the amount. Or what's the percentage? I don't know. They made a shit ton more money already. Just put it back into it, please. That's all I gotta say.
Good hope.
It's a lot of money, though. Congratulations to them, I
Yeah.
guess. Congratulations to Nintendo and all that. They made a lot of money. But like we were talking about, that's one of the problems with modern consumerism. Like, you know, people love Pokemon. I love Pokemon. I bought Pokemon. You bought Pokemon. Everyone bought Pokemon out there. Despite what it is. People buy Call of Duty, despite what it is.
It's true.
It's one of the problems. People buy Madden, despite what it is. I think Madden's the much bigger problem here, but
yeah, definitely for sure. I mean, but they're, as you say, they're just too big to be stopped.
Yeah,
it's too big. You can't stop them. You could try to boycott this thing as much as you want. You could try to get everybody to stop doing it. It ain't gonna do anything. Nothing will dent this company unless they do something so excessively bad. Like it would take a
Wii U Part 2. The Wii U almost killed Nintendo.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's probably the worst I've ever seen.
People forget the Wii U sits at 13 million units sold.
That's
for its
so
lifetime.
Crazy.
The Switch is at 120 plus in the same time period. Okay, so I guess 1 year more on the market. Yeah, because the Wii U came out in 2012, sorry. And
that's like, what?
The Switch came out in 2017. So 5 years on the market. Switch has been on the market for 5 years, 2017 to 2023. That's 6. I can't do math. So
that's wild.
1 year more, 120 versus 13.
And the funny thing is, I think that's literally the only console I've never played. I've never played a Wii U ever in my life.
I bought it. Biggest waste of
I
my
feel
fucking
sorry for
money
you.
ever.
I would say I feel sorry for you.
Hey, I still have it in box. That's going to be a collector's item. There's not a lot of them out there. That's going to be worth some sort of money in 20, 30 years.
That's true.
Yeah,
I've never played a Wii U. I've kind of always wanted to see what it's like, but I've never owned one because I didn't really care at the time. It didn't seem like they did anything new other than that weird touchscreen thing.
I want to say,
It was weird.
what it's like, I'll tell you exactly what it's like. Imagine playing the Switch, but the Switch itself is the controller. You're playing it on the TV with the DS second screen in your hand. That's what it's like to play the Wii U.
Oh, okay.
It's very annoying. I never got used to playing that console ever. I couldn't wrap my head around what it is. It is literally a DS in Switch form on the TV.
Yeah, because I remember the one thing when it released, there was a game that I thought was really cool that I watched a lot of people play. That was Zombie U, which by the way then came out to everything else later on called Zombie or whatever. But I thought that was cool at the time because I'm like, yeah, the Zombie U. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't really keep up with that console. I actually kind of like totally forgot about it until the Switch came out, and I'm like, oh yeah, the Wii U was out. They had a new system this entire time. Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, what a clusterfuck of a 5 years that was for Nintendo.
Yeah.
The fact that it was supported so well with games and all that, and still suck. People forget Mario Kart 8 was originally a Wii U game.
Yeah, a lot of these games that came out the Switch were originally all Wii U games, like Donkey Kong
Country,
Tropical Freeze or whatever.
Yeah, Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze.
That was one of them. They had the Mario Bros Deluxe or whatever it was. They had 3D Land, I think that came to the Wii, or was that only a 3DS game?
I think it was 3DS, yeah.
Yeah.
But still.
Still, like, it's wild.
Most of the first year or so of Switch games, outside of like the big like Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild, were ports of the Wii U because they wanted to actually sell the games they already made. So
it's smart.
It's crazy what happened with that console, man.
Yeah, it's really insane.
One of the biggest clusterfucks in modern gaming history was the Wii U.
Which I gotta say, that's probably a good reason why they're so scared about making this next console. But,
probably, yeah.
Yeah, but then just if you're so scared, don't try anything new. Just keep it the way it is. Make it better. Make it stronger.
And
that's all people want.
Maybe don't call it the Switch U.
Yeah, don't call it the Switch U, please. Just call it like, I don't know, Switch Infinite. I don't know.
No, don't call it that either. Yeah. All right, number 4 on Around the Point. Discord has come to PS5. After lightly integrating Discord features earlier last year, voice chat has finally arrived in the latest beta for the Sony flagship console. Those of you out there, if you're not in the testers program, you cannot play with it yet. We should get it sometime in March, according to rumors. But yeah, this is it's still a pared down version of it. It's not integrated fully within the console. You still have to go through your phone to integrate it, but if it's anything like Xbox, eventually we'll get full-on integration. Don't know why they can't launch with it, but again, I'm not a engineer, so I don't know. A couple other things that come with this update. Finally, you can get VR to work with 1080p displays and the settings.
No, 1440.
What'd I say?
You said 1080.
Oh, sorry, 1440p. There's a bunch of other actually cool features within the party chats and everything. They did a lot with the social aspects in this one. There's a whole list of things out there if you want to go through with it, but I think that social stuff and the fact that they keep expanding how you interact with people throughout these updates, I think personally is a really good one. There's a lot of other small little updates and things. They made it easier to get to your trophies. They updated the card system to make it more usable in game. There's a lot of other cool features that come along with this outside of the variable refresh rate support for 1440p and the Discord integration, but obviously Discord's going to get that headline. So yes, let's hope in March when it comes out there's full integration, at least somewhat, but probably we'll have to wait till the end of the year to get that. So anyway, Logan, you added this in. You think this is a great thing? It is a great thing. Just what do you got to say about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a great thing overall. Again, as I said, ever since like the first game that released that added cross-gen support, I love that all these systems and PC and everything is all coming together. And I feel like Discord voice chat being added to both Xbox and now PS5 is an insanely good thing in my opinion. Because in my opinion, also Discord is like one of the best voice chat systems out there. And the fact now that you can use it on console with people on PC is insanely nice. I'm very happy about it. Obviously, would I be more happy if they just added full-on support of Discord into these consoles? Yeah, it'd be great. But overall, this is still a big step, and maybe they'll hopefully push them to add more features later on. But other than that, this is great. I can't wait to see until it finally fully comes to PS5 out of the beta form and actually releases. Because I'll tell you right now, my personal experience on the Xbox version has been phenomenal. I played with a lot of my friends on PC on Call of Duty and all that. I joined their Discord on there. It sounds insanely good. And yeah, it's just great. It makes things a lot easier, and it basically just lets you play cross-play with everyone else. So hopefully when it fully releases and we maybe play Call of Duty again, whenever you want to play Call of Duty again, we'll have Discord, hopefully. And Discord is, in my opinion, a lot better than the crappy in-game chat of the Call of Duty. So yeah, no, I'm very excited for this. I think this is nothing but good news. I do think it's a little weird that VRR support didn't come to 1440p till now. That was a bit of a weird one. But other than that, yeah, no, this is all good news. I'm very happy about this. I was just kind of blown away when they put down the news. I was wondering when it was going to come, but here we go. We finally got it. So if you have the beta version of PlayStation 5, maybe send us a comment down below to let us know what you think of the new Discord implementation into the party chat system. So other than that,
Yeah,
that's all I got to say.
a couple other updates. One of them I think you'll actually really like. You can now manually upload screenshots and videos to the PlayStation app. It doesn't automatically do that. You can now select which ones you want uploaded there or not. So that's a cool feature for showing off some of your screenshots and videos that you want to see people. A big one that's actually good for, just the ease of use of the console. You can now easily upgrade PS4 and PS5 save data. If you put in a game, the PlayStation now has the ability to read your cloud save function and see that there is a PS4 save data in your cloud, and you can automatically download it to your console. You don't have to go through the menus to do it anymore. It'll send you a notification saying, hey, we found this PS4 save data for this PS5 game that you just installed. Do you want to download it? There you go. You can get it going pretty easily. You can now update your DualSense controllers wirelessly, which is a huge one for me because I always hate sitting down, putting on my console, and then says, oh, you have to update, so I got to stand up, go get the cable, plug it in, connect it. It's annoying. I know it's a first world problem, but now you can just update it wirelessly, so that is good.
I honestly didn't even know that was the way it was, because like on Xbox, yeah, it's always been like that. That's why I didn't even know that. I guess I haven't PlayStation controllers a lot, so I haven't really noticed that. But yeah, no, that's good. That's really good actually, because yeah, that'd be kind of frustrating to have to go plug it in just to update your controller. It's already wirelessly connected. Just update it. But yeah,
definitely a first world problem there, but the problem for me nonetheless, because I live in the first world. Suck it.
Yeah.
All right. The final thing, Atomic Hearts, a game that both Logan and I are excited about, had a 8-minute gameplay demo earlier this week. Logan put it on here. I checked it out right before the show. I got to say, the game looks absolutely fantastic, and I'm very happy that I have it on the Fantasy Critics. So, what do you got, Logan?
I put this on here because they released a gameplay trailer 11 days ago now. This game looks really cool. I've been keeping up with it a little bit. I won't say I've been on top of it ever since it first was announced, but I remember the first time it got announced, I'm like, this looks kind of cool. And then it kept getting delayed, and we just didn't think it was ever going to come out. And then recently they showed off an entire gameplay overview trailer. It looks fantastic. They already released the specs on how it's going to run on all the next-gen consoles. It's going to be 4K 60, which has me very excited. Very happy to see that. This game looks great. It looks fun. It gives me all the vibes of like literally kind of like BioShock-ish or Dishonored, I guess is also more like it.
Oh, it's very BioShock.
Infinite.
It's
Bioshock
very
Infinite, that's what
Bioshock,
gives me,
yes.
yeah, and I love it. It looks so good. I'm very impressed with what they've showcased here. I'm still a little confused in the gameplay. They're showing a lot of things in here, but like I'm a little confused by it. But other than that, it looks good, and the story looks interesting. The world looks fantastic. Yeah, no, I'm very excited to play this. When it comes to Game Pass, I'm for sure gonna be playing it day one. I actually just recently I upgraded my storage for my Xbox, so finally I'll be able to add more games and not have to delete games or move games to different storage things. I'll actually be able to put a lot more things onto SSD. So yeah, no, I'm very excited for this game. I'm definitely downloading it day one. I know it's already up for pre-download, so as soon as I get my expansion thing, I'm gonna be putting it in my Xbox and moving over or downloading this game for first day. So yeah, other
A
than
little,
that,
a little sad I won't get to play it at launch. I got VR coming out the next day, so I'm gonna be spending $600 on that. So I definitely want to put the time in. But I'll be
oh, you
excited.
are gonna get it. I didn't
Oh
think you
yeah.
were gonna get it.
Oh no,
Okay.
I have it pre-ordered already. It may not
Oh,
come on the
I
22nd.
thought you
No,
said you weren't.
no.
Oh, okay.
They tell me it'll be delivered sometime between the 22nd and the 28th. So we'll see when it gets
Well,
here.
whenever I come over next, hopefully there'll be a
Absolutely.
time whenever it comes out, I'll give it a try. So.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna get it, but then I don't know. I'm just like, it sounds so fucking cool. It's such a powerful VR system. I'm lucky enough with both Peyton and I's income to have pretty much enough resources to get what I want when I want. So, $600, while is a lot of money, that can easily be recouped in 1 week for both Peyton and I's income. So I'm lucky in that way. But so those of you out there that don't have that amount of disposable income, I completely understand where you're coming from. I just so happen to be lucky enough in my life and all that I'm able to have that amount of disposable income and not have to worry about it too much. So I will report to you guys the moment I get to play it. Obviously, I'm going to be jumping right into Horizon Call of the Mountain. I can't wait. We'll probably download Beat Saber because why wouldn't I? But I'll be very excited to get my hands on a new controller. It's now out there in the world. You can go out and watch unboxing videos of it if you want to see what the console looks like and the unboxing experience and everything. A bunch of outlets have posted that. On the 17th is when the embargo lifts for reviews. So just in 5 days from the time of recording, we'll get to know what people out there think overall of the console and the headset. We'll definitely talk about that next week on this podcast. That'll be a part of the Let's Talk reviews. We'll dive into what some people are saying about the console. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it doesn't suck. I don't think it's going to suck from everything that I'm hearing. It is pretty darn spectacular. So, all right. Nothing else on Around the Point, though. So that brings us to the end. Guys, if you have anything that you want to talk to us about, please write down below on the YouTube channel. Go over to our Patreon. Engage with us. We want to talk about some of this stuff. Obviously, if you're playing Hogwarts Legacy, let us know what you think of it. If you're watching The Last of Us just like we are, let us know if we're on track with some of our criticisms or if you think we're being overly hyper-critical of something that we'd like. What do you think of the direct, obviously? And then anything else you want to talk about, whether we talk about it or not, please let us know down below. We would love to engage with you guys and love to talk about everything out there with you guys. All right. Now let's go on to LTR, also known as Let's Talk Reviews. There's not a lot to talk about because we covered Hogwarts Legacy last episode in depth. It has dropped 1 point on OpenCritic. It is now sitting at an 85 on OpenCritic and an 85 on Metacritic. So not too much to update there. The only other really game of significance to do anything this week was Metroid Prime Remastered. Came out, like we said, a shadow drop, online only. Physical will come out on the 22nd, the same day the VR launches. And that right now is sitting at a 97 on OpenCritic, which is tied for the #1 scored game of all time on that site, and at 94 on Metacritic. So people seem to really be enjoying a game that is, by all intents and purposes, one of the better games of all time in like the FPS idea of when it came out. I love Metroid Prime, dude. I think it's magical. It's an amazing game, and I'll maybe eventually get to the remastered, but probably not because it's me. So, all right, anything you got to say about this?
Wow, for Metro Prime, dude. Holy crap, 97.
It's a
That's
fucking phenomenal game, dude. Metroid
dude,
Prime.
I've never played it, so I can't really say anything about it. Because I mean, I had a GameCube, but I don't think I ever played Metro Prime. Yeah, that's crazy. That's really wild. That game must be that good. Yeah, I don't know. Some point maybe I'll get it and play it. I don't know when. I know it's only $40, but yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of other games I'm playing right now. I do want to play it at some point. Again, I've never played Metro Prime. It does look cool, and it's always looked semi interesting to me. So sometime, maybe some point within this year, I'll pick it up and try it out. So.
All right, well, this brings us to Out This Week, where we go through all the games coming out this week. A big week, actually. I mean, big in terms of quantity, not really big in terms of quality per se. Other than one game that I'm very excited to see how it reviews, and because it's kind of a risky game. So anyway, we'll get that at the end. On February 14th, Blanc comes out on Nintendo Switch and PC. Journey to the Savage Planet comes out on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. Soul of Chronos on PS5, Switch, and PC. Tomb Raider Reloaded. Don't know what that is. Logan's looking it up right now on iOS and Android. Wanted Dead comes out on PS5 for Xbox Series X and S and PC. On February 15th, Pharaoh, A New Era comes out on PC. Then we get the PC port of Returnal. I know people are very excited about that. On February 16th, we get to the next-gen version of Shadow Warrior 3, obviously on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. Then Threat Rhythm Final Bar Line on PS4 and Switch. Then on February 17th, this one made me smile. Gigantosaurus Dino Kart on PS5 for Xbox Series X and S, Switch, and PC. That's funny because we actually have this game at work. It's been sitting back on our back room, and I wanted to send you guys all a Snapchat about it. I'm like, man, I can't wait for this game, but I forgot to do that. And then to see that, see it on the release list, release schedule, I was like, oh yeah, that's funny. Anyway, still on February 17th, Tales of Symphonia Remastered on PS5 for Xbox Series X and S, Switch. This game is fantastic. If you guys like the Tales series, if you like action JRPGs, go check out Tales of Symphonia. It's one of the best. The Settlers, New Allies on PC. Then, the big one this week, Wild Hearts on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. And that's your week. Logan, what is Tomb Raider Reloaded?
So I looked it up because I was very interested in what the heck it was. Dude, it's a mobile game, and it looks like they literally just copied and pasted like the Clash of Clans kind of art style and just put Tomb Raider in it. And it supposedly is a roguelite game, and it just looks very bad, like extremely bad. You should definitely look it up. It just does not look good at all. It doesn't look enjoyable whatsoever. It almost does. It looks like they literally made another game, and they're like, oh, you know what? We're probably not going to get enough downloads, so let's put Tomb Raider in it, and then just say that's the game, because it definitely doesn't look like a Tomb Raider game at all. Other than that, well, I don't know if you want to say anything first. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I also am excited to see the Returnal on PC. Very excited for that. That's very exciting news. Other than that, I don't think there's really much else that, other than Gigantosaurus. Gigantosaurus. Wow, I'm dyslexic. I don't know what I'm reading. Gigantosaurus.
Gigantosaurus. You're telling me you're not excited for Threat Rhythm Final Bar Line?
What even is that?
It's probably some music game. I don't know. Whoa, geez. Yeah. Highlight the whole thing. But no, I am very excited for Wild Hearts. It's a very risky game for EA, especially for the people that are making it. It's one of those games that like probably shouldn't exist, but it looks good. I've been hearing good things out there, so I'll be excited to see how it reviews. Both of those reviews are it'll probably drop on earlier this week, but we'll definitely do a deep dive on that next week along with PSVR. Probably the only two we're going to do a deep dive on. Don't really see anything else of importance coming out. But that's all I got. Excited about Wild Hearts. I like to see how Returnal, how PC people finally get the chance to play that game. Logan was enjoying it. He's now stuck on Hogwarts Legacy. And yeah, I can't wait to play some Gigantosaurus Dino Kart.
Yeah, dude, it actually doesn't look too bad. It looks like basically a Flintstones racing game. That's what it kind of looked like to me. Is it going to be great? Probably not, but
Definitely
it does
not.
look interesting.
But
No.
all right, let's get on out of here, ladies and gentlemen. This brings us to the end of our show. Everyone who's either been watching or listening, we just want to take this time, as always, and thank you from the bottom of our hearts, or my empty black hole of a soul. Without your support, we could not be doing what we're attempting to do here at the XP Podcast. But please help us to continue to grow by telling everyone out there that you know who even has the slightest appreciation for all things pop culture that they have some new friends waiting to talk all sorts of fandoms with them. We, as always, would greatly appreciate it. Mr. Birdman, any last words?
As always, thank you guys for stopping by to listen to the XP Podcast. Hopefully, maybe you guys either sold you or didn't sell you on Hogwarts Legacy, but that's up to you at that point. But other than that, also, if you want to comment down below on maybe our opinions on, maybe if you think we're right or wrong on Hogwarts Legacy, or maybe also if you have any other opinions on the Last of Us show, maybe something we missed. But other than that, I know this is going to be a little delayed because you guys are probably you're going to be listening to this after the fact, but I hope everybody has a good Super Bowl. I know it's a Super Bowl for us when we are recording at the moment, so obviously it won't be Super Bowl by the time you guys listen to this, but other than that, I really hope the Chiefs win. Other than that, you guys will hear us on the next XP Podcast, or at least you'll hear me.
Hey, Logan.
Oh, and I would like to shout out our Patreon Platinum member, Logan Leffler. As always, we do appreciate your support each and every month, whether that be either through Patreon or even just like and subscribing our videos. We do appreciate it a lot. So, but other than that, yeah. Okay. Back to you, Mike. So good at this.
Also, I just want to say, fuck you, Logan. The Chiefs better not win.
Yeah.
You only want the Chiefs to win because I don't do.
Yeah, it's literally the only reason.
Bastard. All right, one last bit of news. I want to say thank you, everybody out there who has watched along and joined us. Our live reaction to the Game Awards has surpassed 200 viewers. It is at 205. So thank you so much to everyone out there who has sat down and enjoyed that episode. I hope you keep coming back. You keep listening to us. You keep hearing what we have to say. Also, the Open Critic Battle episode at 56. One of our, outside of the live reaction, our most viewed episodes. So hopefully you guys like what we're doing with the Open Critics Battle prediction. Hear what we have to say about all the games. It's glad to see. Keep coming back. Keep listening to us. We'll keep being here for you guys. And hopefully trying to give you some content that you enjoy and want to engage with us on. Anyway, once again, thanks everyone for listening and following along with us. This has been another episode of the XP Podcast brought to you by all of us here at the Experience Point. I hope everyone has a great week. And as always, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
See ya.